Naruto God Level System, Chapter 501-520. Chapter 501 The Worst Devil Fruit. I didn't expect that you didn't take the opportunity to escape, which makes me very surprised. Hyuga-chan looked at Charlie who was training next to her. Hyuga-chen, Monet, Baby 5 and Sha Tang all left just now, and Sha Li was alone on the boat. I didn't expect Sha Li to escape. I'm a fortune teller, Charlie said. She really wanted to take the opportunity to escape, but after divination for herself, the result of the divination was that there was no hope of escape, so Sha Li did not escape. Your divination ability, is it observation haki? Hyuga-chen asked. She can divination without using props. It seems that this is her own ability, and it is most likely observation haki. Charlie is confused. She doesn't know about observation haki. She has never heard of it, but her ability to predict is innate. Hyuga-chan looked at the confused Charlie and nodded thoughtfully, guessing that Charlie should be born with observation haki, and she is also a special observation haki. Hyuga-chan's observation haki can also predict the future, but it can only predict changes in the future for 1 minute. However, Hyuga-chan's prediction of the future is very accurate. Unlike Charlie who can only see a certain segment of the future, it is easy to take it out of context. Returning to the marine headquarters, I met a few pirates on the way, but Hyuga-chan would not care about them as long as they were not the pirates who were courting death. But many pirates like to court death, and they were killed by Hyuga-chan. Lord Chen, what kind of fruit is this fruit? Monet looked at the devil fruit in Hyuga-chan's hand. This devil fruit is one of the 2 devil fruits that I got at Mermaid Island before, one of which is the nature-type mumu fruit, which has already been eaten by Charlie. And this one made the corners of Hyuga-chan's mouth twitch. He didn't expect such a wonderful fruit. If anyone dares to say that there are no trash devil fruits in this world, Hyuga-chan will definitely slap him in the face with this devil fruit. This fruit is called weak fruit. Anyone who eats it will become weaker. Hyuga-chan threw the weak fruit in his hand. Other fruits will become stronger after eating, but this fruit will become weaker. Even if Guy eats more of this fruit, he will immediately become a chicken. If you think about it this way, this fruit is not so useless. If you see someone unhappy, you will eat this fruit. Hyuga-chan, who originally wanted to throw away this devil fruit, decided to keep the fruit. Then what is the use of this fruit? Can it make the enemy weaker? Monet asked. No, this devil fruit can only make those who eat weak fruits weaker, so this is a waste fruit. Hyuga-chan shook his head and said. There are even weak fruits, but I don't know if there are strong fruits. Although there are many devil fruits, humans don't get many of them. Most devil fruits are sunk at the bottom of the sea. Back at Marin Vando, Alvia, who had already received the news through the phone bug, came to greet him, followed by Tautu and Robin, as well as a little girl with blue hair who was a little smaller than Robin. This little girl Hyuga-chan also knew. He had been a teacher at the Naval Academy for a long time. This little girl was Robin's deskmate, named Ain. Seeing Ain, Hyuga-chan thought of the retrograde fruit in his hands. The fruit of regression is Ain's future devil fruit. Hello, General Hyuga. When Ain saw Hyuga-chan's eyes and noticed her, he greeted her with excitement and restraint. Yeah, Hyuga-chan smiled and nodded. This seems to be his own little fan girl, but it's normal. Among the Navy, Hyuga-chan's little fan sister and little fan brother are quite a few. General Hyuga is so handsome. If I can have a baby with General Hyuga, the baby's genes must be very good. Ain thought to himself. Ah, I am thinking about what I think in cook, how can I want this kind of thing? Very shameful. Aon was at the head. What's wrong with you, Ain? Robin asked, looking at Ain who was very wrong. Ah, it's nothing, I'm nothing. Ain shook his head quickly, with a yuhi expression on his face. I must have been seen by General Hyuga in my disgraceful appearance. What should I do? It's disgraceful. I didn't expect you to bring someone back. Tautu looked at Monet, Baby 5, Sugar, Charlie and Curla behind. There's actually such a little girl. Momota pointed to Sugar, and looked at Hyuga-chen with a strange look. Hyuga-chen didn't seem to see Taotu's strange eyes, and asked her, "How is your cultivation now? Is it still as weak as when I left?" "You actually said that I'm weak, but I'm strong." Taotu drew out his big sharp sword, Jinpyra, and slashed a sword against the sea. The powerful sword chi that was cut out separated the sea water, and the movement directly alerted the Navy of the Navy headquarters. "How is it? I'm not weak now. I have learned armament hockey. Now that I add the fruit ability, I won't lose even against the generals," Taotu said confidently. However, if they really face the generals, Taotu will lose a lot. The current Taotukong has strength, but lacks fighting skills. Even her strength was strengthened by Hyuga-chen's use of the strengthening fruit, and now she does not have the strength to be fully strengthened as a master. What's more, Momotu's sword looks powerful, but in fact, a stronger lieutenant general, as long as grandmaster swordsmanship, can basically do it. "You're still a long way off. Hurry up and practice." Hyuga-chen stretched out his hand and flicked Taotu's head, making her cry out in pain. "Peach Rabbit is still young. In a few years, her strength will definitely shock everyone," Alvia said with a smile. In fact, the strength of Taotu now is already shocking. Even when Whitebeard was at the age of Taotu, it was not so strong. However, there is a reason for Momotu's strength. Hyuga-chen used the strengthening fruit on her, which directly strengthened Momotu's strength. "Is there anything important in the Navy headquarters?" Hyuga-chen asked. "No," Alvia shook her head. Hyuga-chen had only been away for a month, and nothing major had happened at all. However, the fact that you defeated Whitebeard has spread to the Navy headquarters, and now you have a higher reputation in the Navy," Alvia said with a smile. Hyuga-chen shook his head. He didn't care about that. His reputation didn't matter at all. He was just messing around in the Navy. "By the way, Alvia, you sent someone to send this little girl back to her hometown." Hyuga-chen pointed to Kurla behind him. At this time, Kurla had already washed and changed into clean clothes. She looked very delicate. Like a doll, she was no longer the dirty little girl she used to be. "Okay," Alvia nodded. She was now Hyuga-chen's adjutant. "Come with me." Alvia looked at Kurla with a gentle smile on her face. Kurla glanced at Hyuga-chen gratefully, then followed Alvia away, taking a few steps and looking back, feeling a little reluctant. As Kurla going, Sugar was a little reluctant. She was very happy with Kurla playing with her these days. Kurla nodded, then wiped her tears, and said silently in her heart, "I will definitely come back." Chapter 502 Please date with me. "Damn, why can't I touch you?" Momotu swung her sword vigorously, but no matter how fast she swung the sword, she still couldn't touch the corner of Hyuga-chan's clothes. "I'll say you're still a long way off. You haven't admitted it yet, so admit it now." Hyuga-chen stood there, drinking tea leisurely, and casually turned sideways to avoid Taotu's attack. "Robin, you also come to help. I don't believe that I can't hit him." Taotu bit Kiba and said to Robin, who was studying with a book beside him. "Me, all right then." Robin put down the book in his hand and raised his small fist. With the sound of lightning and thunder, Robin instantly appeared in front of Hyuga-chen, holding a small fist and hitting Hyuga-chen's nose. "Robin, you are so cruel." Hyuga-chen turned sideways to avoid Robin's little fist. "Anyway, I can't hit you, it doesn't matter where I hit," Robin said a little discouraged. The speed of thunder and lightning is close to the speed of light, but at such a fast speed, it is still impossible to touch Hyuga-chen. Drink till the look at the trick. Taotu secretly used the slow light. Facing the dull light, Hyuga-chen did not dodge, but waved his hand to disperse the light. How could this be? Taotu was startled. She actually dispelled her slow light, and it hasn't been affected yet. Could it be that her fruit ability is fake? Taotu has fallen into self-doubt at this time. 087 Could it be that her fruit is useless? Your fruit ability has not been developed enough to affect me at all. Hyuga-chen shook his head and said. The dull fruit is not omnipotent. Even if Momotu develops the dull fruit to its strongest state, it is useless to Hyuga-chen, because Hyuga-chen can control time. The fruit of dullness is just a branch of time ability, how could it affect Hyuga-chen? Now that you have made some achievements in swordsmanship, concentrate on developing the dull fruit now. Hyuga-chen suggested to her. And Robin, you should develop your thunder fruit. Ah, you're going to be struck by lightning again. Robin didn't want to. There are two ways to develop the thunder fruit. One is to develop it slowly. The other one is quicker. As long as you eat thunder, you can absorb high-intensity lightning, and then increase your voltage. It's okay, it won't hurt anyway. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. As a person with the ability to wring thunder fruit, of course Robin will not be injured by lightning, at most it will be a little numb, and it will be very uncomfortable, which is why Robin does not want to be struck by lightning. Okay. Robin's face was a little helpless. She finally had a vacation, she had to read a book. Jumping into the pool, the thunder flashed in the sky, and the thunder and lightning fell down. Robin closed his eyes to accept the baptism of the thunder and lightning, and increased his own voltage and current. Devil fruit people can actually lie in the water. Monet and the others looked at Robin lying in the water in surprise. Devil fruits are afraid of water, especially sea water, and fresh water will be uncomfortable. If fresh water crosses half of the body, it will be no different from touching seawater. Therefore, the devil fruit ability person is not only afraid of seawater, fresh water can also drown the devil fruit ability person. This is for you, and you won't be afraid of water after taking it. Hyuga-chen took out 3 bottles of devil fruit side effect elimination water, and threw them to Monet, Baby 5, and Charlie. Really not afraid of water. Charlie was the most excited. As a mermaid, she certainly didn't want to lose her ability to swim. It's no good for me to deceive you. When Charlie thought about it, she lifted her head and drank it all. Of course, Monet and Baby 5 believed in Hyuga-chen without hesitation and drank it directly. After drinking it, the 3 women immediately tried it with the seafloor stone, and found that they really were not afraid of the seafloor stone, not even the seafloor stone, let alone seawater. All the girls practiced silently. Hyuga-chen sat at home and drank tea for a while, and then went out. I strolled around the streets of Marinfando to see if there was any delicious sea animal meat. I like eating Hyuga-chen very much. I am a big foodie, and my mouth is very picky. After walking around, I didn't find anything delicious. Those sea beasts, Hyuga-chen, had basically eaten them all. Is it Admiral Hyuga? Hyuga-chen turned his head and looked suspiciously at the pink-haired girl standing behind him. As expected, General Hyuga, Tina is so happy. Tina, it turned out to be her. Hyuga-chen remembered who she was. Colonel of the Navy headquarters, and later promoted to Major General of the Ministry. He has a good relationship with Smog, and he has the ability of the threshold fruit, but the threshold fruit seems to be in the hands of Hyuga-chen now. At this time, Tina should also be studying at the Naval Academy. Do you have anything to do with me? Hyuga-chen asked. Tina admires General Hyuga, can you give Tina an autograph? Tina looked at Hyuga-chen expectantly. Okay. Hyuga-chen took out the pen from his pocket. It was not the first time he had signed someone's autograph, and he was already familiar with it. Where's that sign? Sign it here. Tina pointed to herself. Hyuga-chen looked at Tina. This girl looks about the same age as Taotu. The development is so good, even bigger than the Peach Rabbit. Sure enough, the girls in the pirate world are really developing very fast, and Hyuga-chen has not seen a few airports. It seems that in this world, breasts are still very rare. Hyuga-chen was not embarrassed. He waved his pen and signed his name, although the words were a bit ugly. Feeling the strangeness on her chest, Tina's face turned Yuhi. If there's nothing else, then I'll leave first, pretty little sister. Hyuga-chen smiled slightly. Wait, Tina saw that Hyuga-chen was leaving, and immediately grabbed Hyuga-chen's arm. Tina likes General Hyuga very much, please get in touch with me. Tina said boldly despite her shyness. Hyuga-chen looked at Tina in surprise. Are all the girls so bold now? Sorry little sister, you are still young, let's talk about it when you grow up. I'm already very big. If you don't believe me, squeeze it. Tina took Hyuga-chan's hand and placed it on her soft spot. It's too big to grab with one hand. Looking at Tina's astonishing face, Hyuga-chen still resisted the heartache and refused. He is not a casual person, of course he is not a person when he is casual. Tina won't give up, Tina said firmly. She was ready to go to Hyuga-chen's ship after graduation. Okay, I'm waiting for you, come on and conquer me. Conquering me is equivalent to conquering the whole sea. Hyuga-chen joked. But it doesn't seem to be a joke. If he can really conquer him, it is indeed equivalent to conquering the entire sea. But if you want to conquer Hyuga-chen, it is not as easy as conquering the sea. Tina is the best, Tina will definitely succeed. Tina cheered herself. Looking at the ugly handwriting on the clothes, Tina didn't dislike it, and this dress will be her most precious collection in the future. Tina is Hyuga-chen's true fan. Chapter 503 The Core of the King. Robin's History. Looking at the smile on your face, you seem very happy. Alvia looked at the smiling Hyuga-chen suspiciously. Putting down the pastries and biscuits in his hand, Hyuga-chen took a sip of tea and said narcissistically, "My charm is really unmatched, Tilda." Alvia and the others have question marks on their faces. After going out today, a lot of little beauties confessed to me that if I didn't accept them, I would commit suicide. Alas, how could I bear to see them commit suicide, so I could only agree. The girls looked at each other and looked at Hyuga-chen expressionlessly. What do you mean by looking at me like this? Do you not believe me? Hyuga-chen was rather unhappy with the women's eyes. It's not that I don't believe it, it's that I didn't believe it at all. Taotu said lightly. Am I Hyuga-chen still lying to you? Hyuga-chen really didn't lie, and confessed a lot to him, but the real beauty is only Tina. However, the girls still looked at Hyuga-chen with a blank expression. Well, since you don't believe me, I can only bring one back and let you know. Hyuga-chen said and got up. That's still not needed, I believe you. Alvia stretched out her hand to hold Hyuga-chen. I think so too, Yi-chan, you are so charming, there must be many little girls who like you, and I feel in love with you. Robin said with a slightly Yuhi face. Other women also expressed their belief. How could they really let Hyuga-chen bring a woman back? Hyuga-chen's admiration for Robin was very useful, and he patted Robin's head to show his appreciation. Alvia's mouth twitched. I didn't expect this man to have such a side, it was really unexpected. To be honest, Alvia's feelings for Hyuga-chen are very complicated. The destruction of her hometown O'Hara, at that time, it was Hyuga-chen who led the execution of the Demon Slayer order. However, Hyuga-chen didn't take action and helped her keep Robin, so Alvia didn't resent Hyuga-chen, but was rather grateful. If it wasn't for Hyuga-chen, her mother and daughter would never have lived such a quiet and peaceful life. But now Alvia finds out that she has some other feelings for Hyuga-chen. This feeling seems to be love, but Alvia isn't sure if she really likes Hyuga-chen. Why have you been staring at me? Are you in love with me? Hyuga-chen raised an eyebrow at Alvia. Alvia's face turned Yuhi. She didn't refute, she just lowered her head, neither admitting nor objecting, more like acquiescence. By the way, Robin, since Alvia is your mother, what about your father? Taotu asked suddenly. Hearing this, Robin turned her gaze to Alvia. She had never seen her father, nor heard Alvia mention her father. Alvia was silent for a long time before she said, Robin, your father has died in a shipwreck. Really? Hyuga-chen laughed suddenly, then took out a bright blue ball and tossed it in his hand. Seeing the ball in Hyuga-chan's hand, Alvia's face turned pale all of a sudden, but seeing that there was nothing wrong with Robin, her face became better. Chen, I have something to talk to you about alone, is it okay if I don't know? Okay. Hyuga-chen and Alvia walked into the house. After entering the house, without waiting for Alvia to speak, Hyuga-chen said directly, you want to ask me where I got this ball, right? Alvia nodded and looked at Hyuga-chen nervously. As you guessed, I took it out of Robin's body. Hyuga-chen chuckled. Then how is Robin still? Still safe and sound? Alvia became even more nervous. I took the thing out of Robin's body. Of course, I will protect Robin's safety. Don't worry, Robin is not injured at all, and it will be fine in the future. Besides, this thing is not a good thing in her body. Hyuga-chen gave Alvia took a reassurance. Alvia breathed a sigh of relief, seeing that there was nothing wrong with Robin now, and she also believed that Hyuga-chen would not deceive her, because she was not qualified to be deceived. Robin doesn't have a father, right? Or this bead is Robin's father or mother. Hyuga-chen put the bright blue bead on the table. This bead looks very ordinary, but it contains powerful energy, and the nature of this energy is somewhat similar to yin and yang, where vitality and destruction coexist. Alvia nodded and said, that's right, Robin was created with my blood and this bead. This bead is the core of the Heavenly King. This bead is the King of Heaven. Hyuga-chen was a little surprised. This is part of the Heavenly King. When I found the Heavenly King by accident, I didn't know it was the Heavenly King at that time, and then I accidentally activated the Heavenly King with my own blood. The strength I have now is also the energy released by the Heavenly King. The reason for the remodel. Later, the Heavenly King core, which was contaminated with my blood, separated from the main body, and created a baby with a power that I did not understand. Then the Heavenly King's core entered the body of the baby, and the Heavenly King's main body disappeared, and that baby was Robin. Hyuga-chen nodded. This bead has the power to create life. It is not surprising that it can create Robin. I checked the information later and found out that this is the King of Heaven, and the King of Heaven is sealed, and the blood of the royal family of the D family is needed to unlock the seal. Alvia continued. You are also from the D family? Hyuga-chen asked in surprise. Alvia nodded. She is not only a member of the D family, but also has the royal blood of the D family. By looking up information, I learned that the King of Heaven has his own will, and the core of the King of Heaven is in Robin's body. I am afraid that one day it will control Robin. That's why I searched for the historical text for Robin's sake. I wanted to find a way to take out the core of the king without hurting Robin and seal the king again. So it is. This Heavenly King's core is very dangerous. Chen, you can either destroy it or throw it away, don't keep it by your side. Alvia said solemnly. The D family was originally a kingdom, but this kingdom perished, and the reason for the demise Alvia is not clear, but it has something to do with the king. It's okay, this thing is just a small toy in my hand, and the will inside it has been destroyed by me. Hyuga-chen played with the bead. Really, Alvia couldn't believe it. This is something that can destroy the world, and it can really destroy its will. It's easy for me, Hyuga-chen said, and the yin-yang escape Gudodama, truth-seeking ball, wiped out all will. What shape is the King of Heaven, and what is it? This is what Hyuga-chen is most interested in. When I saw it, it was a scepter, but the king did not have a specific form in the records and could change into any form, Alvia said. I didn't expect to use a transforming weapon, it sounds very cool. Hyuga-chen decided to wait for the day to get the king to take a look. Chapter 504 Alvia delivered to your door. Now that you have taken the core of the king out of Robin's body, I am completely relieved. Alvia said with a smile. All along, the problem with the core of the king has been Alvia's heart disease. She is afraid that one day Robin will be completely controlled by the core of the king and become a puppet of the king. No need to worry now, Alvia was really relieved. I never thought that Robin is the King of Heaven. Hyuga-chen put away the King of Heaven's core, although when he first saw Robin, he realized that it was wrong, but Hyuga-chen never thought that what was inside Robin's body was the core of the King of Heaven. Chen, thank you very much. Alvia approached Hyuga-chen, kissed him lightly, and ran out shyly. This is Alvia's first when. It would be even better if the kissing time could last a little longer. Hyuga-chen, who was sitting in the chair, thought discontentedly. My mother ran out of Yuhi-Yuhi's face, did you bully her? Robin walked in, akimbo, and looked at Hyuga-chen aggressively. "No, don't frame me, I'm not that kind of person." Hyuga-chen denied it immediately. 997 inches. The one who was kissed was me, and I was the one who was bullied. Hyuga-chen is this kind of person who gets cheap and behaves well. "What, you and my mother kissed?" Robin suddenly jumped up in surprise, and Taotu and the others, who were looking in at the door, naturally heard it. "What are you saying out loud, Robin?" Alvia, who was sitting in the yard, immediately walked in and dragged Robin out. "What are you looking at? Don't hurry up to practice." Alvia reprimanded Taotu and the others who were watching the excitement. Peach Rabbit, Monet and the other women were startled, but they didn't expect that Alvia, who was always gentle, would actually reprimand them. The domineering aura on his body stunned them all at once, so they ran to practice. "Damn, it's really nasty, I feel inexplicably uncomfortable." Taotu swung his sword and chopped the wooden figure in front of him into 8 pieces. "Peach Rabbit, are you complaining about something?" Alvia's voice came faintly. Taotu shuddered, turned her head to look at Alvia, whose eyes were full of Yuhi light, and then looked at the people beside her who were so obedient that they dared not speak, and immediately shook her head. "Alvia, you heard wrong, I have nothing to complain about." Although he felt humiliated, he was not as strong as Alvia. Taotu secretly made up her mind to take revenge when she becomes stronger than Alvia one day. Hyuga-chan watched this scene from the window, and it was not bad for Alvia to supervise their cultivation. After all, they were all too lax. Especially after Hyuga-chen used the strengthening fruit to strengthen their bodies, they were not active in their cultivation. Going out of the door to the courtyard, Alvia's face, who had been paying attention to the door, gave a slight Yuhi. "Look at your face, Yuhi. From what I know about you, you shouldn't be such a shy person." Hyuga-chen walked over and sat beside Alvia. "Then from what you know about me, what kind of person am I?" Alvia brushed her hair and asked softly. "Guess what?" Alvia was speechless. How could I have guessed? Hyuga-chen lay down, resting her head on Alvia's beautiful long legs. "Borrow your legs, I want to sleep, do you have any opinion?" "I have opinions, very opinions." Robin ran over with a bulging face. Seeing Hyuga-chen resting on Olivia's lap, Robin felt uncomfortable. Hyuga-chen smiled slightly, picked up Robin and threw it into the pool next to him. With a wave of the sky was covered with dark clouds, and the thunder struck instantly. "Robin, you should continue to practice." "Damn, mother bullied me," Robin shouted. Even though she is a person with the ability of the thunder fruit, she can transform into thunder and lightning, but she is still paralyzed by this high-intensity thunder and lightning strikes, and she can't lift half of her strength. "Robin, Chen is for your own good," Alvia said with a smile. Robin is angry, she is really Alvia's biological. And the big villain Chen, really hateful. Do you really like her mother? "Damn, except for being younger, I'm not worse than my mother. I'm more cute," Robin muttered dissatisfied. Night, Hyuga-chen's door suddenly remembered that Hyuga-chen, who was going to sleep on Chuong, glanced at the door suspiciously, and then got up to open the door. After opening the door, Alvia in pajamas with white hair and shawl was standing outside the door, with moisture on her body, and at a glance, she knew that she had just taken a shower. "You are this." Alvia smiled charmingly. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" "It's not good. It's easy to get in trouble when you are alone in the same room. I'm not a casual person. You don't want to seduce me because I'm handsome. I won't take the bait." As Hyuga-chen spoke, she pulled Alvia closer to the house. Alvia looked at Hyuga-chen and was very speechless. "Is it from the recommended pillow seat?" "Come on. Although my heart is very resistant, I know that with my weak strength, I will definitely not be able to resist you, a female Tyrannosaurus. Please pity me." Hyuga-chen lay on the chuong, a look that I can't resist. Alvia's head was covered in black lines. She almost couldn't help it. She wanted to punch Hyuga-chen in the forehead. "I'm not as dirty as you think. I'm here to say thank you for taking out the core of the king and saving Robin." Tisk tisk, came to my room at night, really just to say thank you. Besides, didn't you thank you during the day? Hyuga-chen sat up and looked at Alvia playfully. Don't you think that the man during the day was insincere, so you want to give a sincere thank you? Alvia's face was red. Yuhi, what should she say now? In fact, even Alvia herself didn't know why she came here by magic. Stretched out his hand to pulled Alvia into his arms, and looked down at Alvia, who was lying in his arms with a shy face. Hyuga-chan's eyes heated up. He originally wanted to tease Alvia, but he didn't expect to tease his own fire. Although I often go to the system space to discuss life with Makoto, Kushina, and Tsunade, Alvia in her pajamas is really attractive at this time, so Hyuga-chen couldn't hold it back. Who was lying in Hyuga-chen's arms, looked confused, and her arms wrapped around Hyuga-chen's neck involuntarily. She knew she really fell in love with this man. Chen, I love you, let me be your woman. The beauties are courting, and if Hyuga-chen doesn't say anything at this time, it proves that he is a eunuch. So in order to prove that he was not a eunuch, he fought till dawn this night. On this night, Alvia, an older young woman, finally became a woman and tasted what it was like to be a woman. Chapter 505 Mother-Daughter Conversation. What should I do, Robin? You seem to have a father. Tautu said with a distressed face. I have a father, what are you worried about? And I don't have a father or mother, and Alvia won't be my mother in the future. Robin threw the book in his hand on the ground with dark circles under his eyes. Don't do this, Robin, what do you think about me being your little mother? I promise that after I become your little mother, I will definitely protect you. Tautu's eyes suddenly lit up. Robin's face is dark. Whoever wants you to be my little mother, I said I don't have a father. Seeing that Robin was about to turn black, Tautu smiled shyly. Monet and Charlie also got up after a while. Both of them also had 2 dark circles under their eyes and shy yuhi on their faces. Obviously they hadn't slept well. This house is not soundproof. Charlie complained. It's up to you to know whether it's soundproofed or not. Tautu said quietly. The movement of Hyuga-chan and Alvia was a bit loud last night, but the soundproofing of the house is actually good. If you don't listen carefully, you won't hear anything at all. Look at the baby 5 and the sugar who looked at them blankly, and the 2 of them didn't hear anything. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Tautu, Robin, Charlie, and Monet looked over, only to see Hyuga-chen coming out. Look at what I'm doing, do I have flowers on my face? Hyuga-chen closed the door and felt a little uncomfortable seeing Robin, Tautu and the others staring at him all the time. Where's Alvia? Robin asked. Alvia is still resting, because the battle was a bit fierce last night, and it was the first time for Olivia. It is estimated that he will not be able to get up today. Humph. Robin hummed angrily. Momotu and the others gave Hyuga Tatsu a byakugan and then ignored him. Hyuga-chen shrugged. Ignore him and ignore him. Hyuga-chen walked over and pinched Sugar's face. Tenten ate grapes without stopping for a moment, and he didn't panic. Feed me. Sugar opened her mouth wide and her eyes were watery, so cute. Faced with Sugar's request, Hyuga-chen couldn't bear to refuse, and fed her the grapes on the table one by one. Sugar was sitting very quietly in Hyuga-chan's arms. As long as there are grapes, Sugar is very quiet. If not, it can be a mess. Who cooks breakfast today? Hyuga-chen asked. Olivia used to prepare breakfast, but now Alvia is lying on the bed weakly. She must not be able to make breakfast. I'm not hungry. I don't want to do it. Tautu shook his head vigorously. I'll make breakfast. Monet smiled lightly. Maybe cooking is a little difficult for her, but a simple breakfast is very easy for her. Monet baked some bread. Although it looked a little mushy, it tasted okay. It didn't look appetizing, but it tasted okay. Eating 2 slices of bread, Hyuga-chen took a glass of milk and walked into the room with 2 slices of bread, looking at Alvia who was sleeping with his eyes closed and smiled. Reaching out and pulling the quilt away suddenly, Alvia opened her eyes immediately, and then immediately pulled the quilt over. She was not wearing clothes now. What are you doing? Alvia was extremely embarrassed, knowing that she was not wearing any clothes, but she lifted the quilt. It's nothing, I just want to know whether you are awake or asleep now. It seems that you are awake. Why are you pretending to be asleep? Hyuga-chen leaned over and asked with a smile. Asked knowingly. Alvia snorted softly, not because of shyness. Although she was not too young, she was no longer a little girl, but it was her first experience, so how could she not be shy? It doesn't matter, after getting used to it, you won't be shy. Hyuga-chen lay beside Alvia. Would you like to eat something to regain your strength? Hyuga-chen asked. Okay, but you feed me, I don't have any strength right now, it's all your fault. Alvia rolled her eyes at Hyuga-chen. Now Alvia is exhausted, and her lower body is still in pain, and she is almost dying. Just after feeding Alvia, Robin suddenly opened the door and walked in. After seeing Robin, Alvia became even more shy. Chen, you go out first, I want to chat with Alvia. Robin grabbed Hyuga-chen's hand, pulled him up and dragged him out. Hyuga-chen glanced at Robin helplessly and walked out following her strength. Since their mother and daughter want to talk, let them talk. After Hyuga-chen left, Robin and Olivia were speechless, and Olivia was embarrassed lying on the bed. I heard what you said yesterday, I was really created by the King of Heaven. Robin asked with a complicated look. Robin, although you were created by the Heavenly King, you are no different from other human beings at all, so don't have any burdens. Alvia is not surprised that Robin knew, because yesterday she found out that Robin had eavesdropped. Then you're not my mother, are you? You were created by the King of Heaven based on my blood, and theoretically you are indeed my daughter. I don't care, you're not my mother anyway, so I don't want to have another father inexplicably. Robin pouted, she didn't want Hyuga-chen to be her father. Why, do you hate Chen so much? In short, I just don't want him to be my father. Alvia, you won't be my mother in the future. Oh, since you don't want him to be your father, what do you want him to be you? Do you want him to be your husband? Alvia quipped. Ah, Alvia, what nonsense are you talking about? Robin jumped onto the bed and covered Alvia's mouth with his hand. Auntie 910 should be so big, it seems that I'm not talking nonsense. My good daughter, are you the man who wants to rob your mother? Alvia said with a teasing. Why do you say anything? I remember you wouldn't say such things before. Robin looked at Alvia speechlessly. Even if she became Hyuga-chen's woman, the change was too great. Alvia, who was originally intellectual and gentle, suddenly turned into a hooligan. This change was earth-shaking. If you really want to, I'll help you. Alvia smiled indifferently and winked at Robin. She and Robin were not outsiders, so naturally they dared to say anything. Of course, after becoming women, Alvia let go a lot. If it was before, she really did not dare to say such bold and shameful words to Robin. I don't believe you, women are selfish. Robin's heart fluttered, and then he pouted. If she would have believed in Alvia without hesitation before, now she will not believe in Alvia. Little Robin doesn't believe me, it's really sad. I can only say that you missed a good opportunity, Robin. Alvia shook her head and sighed. I don't need you, I can get what I want by myself. Robin said Yuhi. Did her words reveal something? Seeing Alvia's half-smile expression, Robin couldn't wait any longer, and ran out with his face covered. Chapter 506 The Fruit of Surgery. What did you communicate with Alvia? Why is your face so Yuhi? Hyuga-chen asked Robin, who ran out with his face covered. Do I have a face Yuhi? Robin calmed down the fluctuations in his heart and slowly calmed down, but the Yuhi rhyme on his face still did not dissipate. Yes, and very Yuhi. Taotu nodded. Robin sat down and glanced at Hyuga-chen. His face became more Yuhi, but he didn't say anything. How could she say what Alvia said? Hyuga-chen looked at Robin strangely. Why did Robin keep peeking at himself? Does he want to propose a pillow seat like Alvia? The thought of mother and daughter flying together instantly appeared in Hyuga-chen's mind. No, I can't continue to think about it. Now Robin is still a little lowly. I don't want to be a beast. Let's talk about it when Robin grows up. However, when Robin grows up, mother and daughter fly together, isn't it a beast? Hyuga Chen said that this question is difficult to answer, and if it is a big deal, it is difficult to be a beast. Lord Chen, what are you thinking? The smile is a bit wretched. Baby 5 pushed Hyuga Chen. Hyuga Chen came back to his senses, feeling a little embarrassed, and was actually being laughed at by Baby 5. Time has passed, and another 2 years have passed. Today, Hyuga Chen rarely appeared in the conference room. Hyuga Chen hardly attended the meeting before. Sengoku, I don't know if I have any meetings, and I don't know if I can get a good night's sleep. Carp rubbed his eyes and complained. Sengoku has a black line, and now he can only hope that the big brother doesn't fall asleep while he is in a meeting. After all, this guy Carp can sleep anywhere. I have something important to say. Hyuga-chan yawned. Looking at the 2 yawning guys, not the 4 yawning guys, Kizaru and Aokiji were also yawning boredly. Sengoku is also drunk. Why are they all such people in the Navy, and they are all important combat powers, and the only active Akainu is too extreme. This time I am talking about the 4 emperors of the New World. Now that Whitebeard, Guy Duo and Charlotte Lingling have become the 4 emperors, the other 4 emperors, if nothing else happens, should fall on the head of Yuhi Fashanks. Up. Sengoku's face was gloomy. Yuhi-haired Shanks, a trainee of the Roger Pirates who was not in their eyes at all, but now he has the strength to overturn the river. It's not a big deal, is it? Hyuga Chen tapped the table with his fingers bored. Sengoku glanced at Hyuga Chen. Isn't this a big deal? So what's the real deal? The 4 emperors represent the 4 strongest forces among the pirates. If these 4 pirate groups are united, the impact on the Navy and the world government is unimaginable. Aren't you afraid of the 4 emperors' union? Hyuga-chan asked, looking at Sengoku. Sengoku nodded. He was afraid of the 4 emperors uniting. If the 4 emperors really united, it would definitely have the strength to overturn the naval headquarters. You are completely unfounded. Do you think that with Whitebeard's character, can he unite with others? Hyuga Chen said lightly. That's right, Boy Chen is right. From what I know about Whitebeard, he won't join forces with anyone. Carp nodded and said. Garp and Whitebeard are also old rivals. They have fought countless times, and they know Garp the Whitebeard very well. Whitebeard is a very arrogant person and will never join forces with other pirate groups. I'm not worried about Whitebeard, I'm worried about Guido, Charlotte Lingling and Yuhi Shanks. Sengoku isn't worried about Whitebeard joining the others, but what about the other 3? Especially Sengoku knows that Guy and Charlotte Lingling are crew members of the same ship, and they have both worked together on the Great Pirate Rocks. Pirates pay more attention to interests. Without absolute interests, it is difficult for them to unite. Akainu said. Although Akainu's personality is extreme, he is not brainless and knows those pirates very well. Even so, we have to defend. Pulsalino, Sakazuki, you 2 go to the New World to deal with Yuhi Fa Shanks. Sengoku is ready to take Shanks who will become the 4 emperors. One more thing, it has to do with the world government and Doflamingo. Sengoku's face was slightly serious. You should understand that the world government bought the ultimate devil fruit with 5 billion Baileys. According to the information obtained, now the intermediary Doflamingo wants to embezzle this devil fruit. Hyuga Chen, who was boringly knocking on the table, was stunned. The ultimate devil fruit. Is it the fruit of surgery? The surgical fruit, a devil fruit that can give people immortality, is indeed very attractive to others, but to Hyuga Chen, it is not very attractive. The fruit of the operation can make people immortal and must catch the user's life, and Hyuga Chen's time freeze can freeze time, and it can also give people immortality without paying any price. So to Hyuga-chan, the surgical fruit is just a devil fruit with special abilities, and Hyuga-chan doesn't value his ultimate ability. But even if you remove the immortality surgery that makes you immortal, the fruit of the surgery itself is quite powerful. If you can get the fruit of the surgery, it's not bad. Hyuga-chen said secretly. Now I want to arrest Brother Doflamingo, this guy has been too rampant recently. Sengoku said, Tianlong people dare to embezzle everything they want, what is not rampant? I wonder who wants to arrest Doflamingo? Sengoku asked, looking at the crowd. Let me go, I'm getting a little bored at the Navy headquarters, I want to go out for a walk. Hyuga-chen said. Sengoku looked at Hyuga-chen suspiciously. No matter how you look at it, Hyuga-chen doesn't seem like someone willing to shoot. If that's the case, then Admiral Hyuga will go. Sengoku nodded without objection. Let's talk about what happened next. I'm going to arrest Doflamingo first. Hyuga-chen didn't want to listen to Sengoku's nonsense here, got up and left. Looking at Hyuga-chen's back, Akainu frowned. Marshal, Hyuga-chen is not that kind of positive person. Wouldn't it be a little strange that he was so positive this time? Sengoku shook his head and said, it's none of your business, Sakazuki, as long as you can complete the mission. Then we continue to talk about the four emperors. Brother Doflamingo is just a small person, so don't put too much effort into him. Although Doflamingo is now engaged in wind and rain, the momentum is very large, but he is not in the eyes of Sengoku at all. Even if it wasn't for the fruit of the surgery, Sengoku wouldn't even care about Doflamingo, not to mention Hyuga-chen's shot, even the four emperors wouldn't be able to escape. Akainu sat down with a livid face. In fact, the relationship between Akainu and Sengoku was not very good. There are also different divisions in the Navy. One of them is a hawk and the other is a dove. Naturally, there will be conflicts. Now Akainu is the representative of the hawk faction, but there are still more dove faction people. Carp and Aokiji belong to the dove faction, while Kyabu is swaying and grassy. Chapter 507 To the North Sea. The fruit of surgery is in the North Sea. Alvia was surprised. She had studied history and knew many things about Akatsuki. How could she not know the ultimate devil fruit, the fruit of surgery? Chen, you must get this devil fruit, it can make people live forever. Alvia said solemnly. If I eat this fruit, I can definitely use the immortality surgery to immortalize you. Alvia looked at Hyuga-chen seriously. I know better than you about this devil fruit. It can indeed give people immortality, but the price is also very high. Once the immortality surgery is used, the person with the ability will also die. Sun Tilde Shanshan shook his head and said. I don't care. You don't care about me, I won't let my woman die. Hyuga-chen squeezed Alvia's face. What's more, I'm already immortal, and you have also been cast by me with the time magic. Time has stopped passing on you, and the fruit of the operation is of little significance to us. Hyuga-chen said. Time has stopped passing on me. Alvia stayed, wouldn't she be immortal? However, the ability of the fruit of the operation is really good. Maybe you can grab it. Even if you don't need it, you can ask the world government for something in exchange. Let's go to the North Sea. Hyuga-chen brought Alvia, Momotu and the others on the warship together. Hyuga-chen warship now. Alvia, Momotu, Robin, Baby 5, Monet, Sugar, Charlie, Tina and Ain. Even if Hyuga-chen is counted, it is only 10. Personally, the soldiers on the original ship have been disbanded by Hyuga-chen. Now there are beautiful women on board. Hyuga-chen said that it is very seductive. A few days ago, Tina applied for a job on board Hyuga-chen, and Hyuga-chen agreed because of her beauty. Ain and Robin have a very good relationship. They often come to Hyuga-chen's house to play. They are also Hyuga-chen's little fan sister, so they also boarded Hyuga-chen's boat. Sengoku looked at the slowly sailing warship, and felt that Hyuga-chen was just going to play, but now Sengoku was worried about whether Hyuga-chen would be able to complete the mission. Forget it, he is a member of the world government, and he will definitely take care of what the world government has in mind. Sengoku still thinks that Hyuga-chen is a member of the world government. This is my first time to go to sea, so I'm so excited. Ain was lying on the bow, looking into the distance, and was very excited. Tina, Ain, these 2 devil fruits for you. Hyuga-chen put the threshold fruit and the regression fruit on the table next to him. Devil fruit. Tina and Ain approached. It's expensive, is it really okay? Ain asked hesitantly. It's okay, I don't care about the 2 devil fruits. Tina and Ain thought about it, and then ate the devil fruit one by one. Tina feels so unpalatable, this is the worst thing Tina has ever eaten. Tina frowned, forcing herself not to spit it out. Ain shed tears and was about to cry. Robin looked at the schadenfreude here, but she enjoyed the taste of devil fruit twice. The taste of this devil fruit can only be described as disgusting. Hyuga-chen has also enjoyed the taste of devil fruit twice, and only regrets that he didn't have the eye technique of devouring the gods. If there is this pupil technique, I will not taste the taste of devil fruit twice. These 2 bottles of water are also given to you. After drinking, you can lift the curse of the devil fruit, and you will not be afraid of sea water and sea rock in the future. The curse of devil fruit can also be lifted. Tina and Ain were very surprised. After all, the curse of devil fruit is well known. Because of the reason that it will turn into a landlubber, there are many strong people who refuse to eat devil fruit. However, they trusted Hyuga-chen very much and drank it without hesitation. Via the Holy Land Mary Joa, they still flew over the Holy Land Mary Joa. This time, the 5 old stars didn't speak, and didn't even look at them. Anyway, they are used to it, Hyuga-chen's arrogant behavior, they just turn a blind eye. On the other hand, there were quite a few Tianlong people who were very unhappy watching the ship flying over their heads. But it's useless for them to be upset, even the 5 old stars ignore them. Except for the leader of the Tianlong people, Yimu, the 5 old stars are above the other Tianlong people. I seem to be able to see the aggrieved face of the 5 old stars now. Alvia said with a smile. The 5 old stars are the most powerful people in the world. If someone is flying over their heads, they will definitely be upset. But what about the highest authority? In front of my man, he is not as good as a dog. Alvia is very proud. It's just the 5 old stars, don't pay attention to them at all. Hyuga-chen didn't take the 5 old stars seriously at all. Only Hyuga-chen can ignore the 5 old stars who are equally terrifying in power and strength. Even if Whitebeard encounters the 5 old stars, he has to go around. If they are singled out, Whitebeard will definitely not be afraid of any of them, but if they meet 2 5 old stars, Whitebeard is no match. Everyone in the 5 old stars has more combat power than the generals, and is definitely not weaker than Garp. The warship entered the North Sea through the Windless Belt, and Hyuga-chen also caught some sea kings in the Windless Belt and threw them into the system space. I don't know if it's good or not, let Makoto and Conan handle it. I was scared to death just now. Ain's little heart is still beating very fast. The sea kings in the Windless Zone are huge, even if they are not deep seas, but there are sea kings that can swallow warships. Ain is just a little girl who has just set out to sea. The huge number of sea kings just now really scared the little girl Ain. General Hyuga is really powerful, but when he released his momentum, he made those sea kings dizzy. When can I be so powerful? After calming down, Ain looked at Hyuga-chen adoringly. These are nothing. Hyuga-chen smiled lightly, the little girl's admiration made him very happy. It has already reached the North Sea, and I don't know if the fruit of the operation has been eaten. It doesn't matter if you eat it, Hyuga Tatsu's devouring technique can extract the devil fruit that has been eaten. Mignon Island, Dies Barreros laughs with the fruit of the surgery, which is a devil fruit worth 5 billion bellies. Do you really want to sell 5 billion baileys to the world government? Doflamingo, the intermediary, is very untrustworthy. Why don't the boss eat it? Diaz's subordinate suggested. This is what the world government wants, what do you think will happen if I eat it? Diaz said blankly. He also knew that such a valuable devil fruit was not an ordinary devil fruit, but if he dared to eat it, he would definitely be targeted by the world government. Diaz doesn't want to be targeted by the world government. As for Doflamingo, the dark intermediary, he really needs to be on guard. After all, pirates are people who have no credibility, especially Doflamingo, the sea rogue. Chapter 508 Corazone's Strength Pit Brother. This is Mignon Island. Hyuga-chen took a group of people to Mignon Island. When Hyuga-chen and the others set foot on this island, Corazon and Luo also set foot on this island. Corazon is Doflamingo's younger brother and Sengoku's adopted son, a spy who is placed beside Doflamingo. In order to save Luo, who suffers from Birch's disease, Corazon prepared to betray the navy, betray Doflamingo, and grab the fruit of the operation for Luo to eat. Although this is likely to offend the world government, the navy, and even his brother Doflamingo, in order to save Luo, a child with a tragic background, everything doesn't matter. Luo, wait for me here, I will bring the fruit of the operation. Corazon said while pressing Luo's shoulder. Corazon, I'll go with you. Corazon looked at Luo, who was looking at him firmly, with a rare serious expression. It was not easy to grab the fruit of the operation, and it was difficult to escape if he was accidentally discovered. Although Corazon has many identities, he is also the second generation of the top cadre of the Don Quixote family, Yuhi Shin, but Corazon's strength is not strong. Although he is not a rookie, he is not a master. In the end, Corazon persuaded Sha Luo to go alone to snatch the fruit of the operation. He used the fruit of silence to eliminate the sound and successfully grabbed the fruit of the operation through an arson attack. However, when escaping, the chain fell off at a critical moment, fell down because of carelessness, and the surgical fruit in his hand flew out and rolled a few times on the ground. When Corazon was about to get up and pick up the fruit of the operation, the fruit of the operation had already been picked up. Corazon looked at the person who came, with a handsome face, wearing a black suit with a navy cape, followed by a few beautiful women and a few little girls. I didn't expect the fruit of the surgery to run to my feet, is this a destiny? Hyuga-chan held the fruit of surgery with a smile on his face. At this time, Dai's Barreros also chased after him, looking at Corazon who just got up from the ground, and then at Hyuga-chen who was holding the fruit of the operation. His face immediately turned ugly. Of course he knew Hyuga-chen, the navy has the highest combat power, can hang more than 4 emperors, defeat Whitebeard, and is now recognized as the strongest man in the world. At this time, the fruit of the operation fell into the hands of Hyuga-chen. What can he do? Don't you want the 5 billion Baileys? This is impossible. He was also a navy colonel originally, and the reason for becoming a pirate was because the army's salary was too low, so he became a pirate for money. As a person who takes money very seriously, asking him to give up 5 billion Baileys is a bit silly. General Hyuga, can you return the fruit of the operation to me? This is a trade item between me and the world government. Dai said bitingly. Hey Tilda, I found this by luck, why should I give it to you? Hyuga-chen gave him a sarcastic look. Diaz's face was ugly. General Hyuga, this is my thing. Ha ha ha, in front of my Navy Admiral, do you think I'm more merciful if you haven't run away as a pirate? Hyuga-chan threw the surgical fruit in his hand. Corazon is the one with the most ugly face. He obviously got the fruit of the operation, but because of his sloppiness, the fruit of the operation was sent out in vain. Luo still needs the fruit of the operation to save his life, and Corazon must find a way to grab the fruit of the operation. However, it is not difficult to grab something in the hands of the Admiral, it is impossible. Since the fruit of the operation has been obtained, then wait for Brother Doflamingo, and go back when he catches Brother Doflamingo. Hyuga-chen sat on the chair made by Charlie using the ability of Mumu Fruit. Doflamingo will definitely come to Diaz, and he will deliver it himself. Corazon saw that he had no chance to grab the fruit of the operation now, so he silently retreated. There was the fruit of silence, so he didn't make any sound and quietly left into the distance. Although he used the silence fruit to silence the sound, he couldn't escape Hyugatatsu's gaze. Although Hyuga-chan saw that he had escaped, he ignored it and ran away. Hyuga-chan would also like to thank him for sending the fruit of the operation to him. And when Dais knew that Corazon had escaped, he was instantly furious. If it wasn't for this bastard, how could the fruit of the operation fall into Hyuga Chen's hands? I wanted to catch this guy and entertain him, but he didn't expect this bastard to escape when they weren't paying attention. Looking at the smiling Hyuga Chen, Dice decided not to have the surgery. Although the fruit of surgery is valuable, it is still more important than life. Just as Dice was about to leave, Tina immediately used the threshold fruit ability, formed iron bars with her arms to surround them, and then imprisoned them all. What are you doing? I don't want the fruit of the operation, why don't you let us go? Diaz's face was blue and purple. Isn't it normal for the Navy to catch pirates? It's a matter of course, what's the fuss about? Hyuga Chen said lightly. Diaz slammed the iron fence with a punch, and the reinforced iron fence was bent with a powerful force, but it could only be done like this. Now they are like locked monkeys, unable to break the iron cage that holds them. If it's annoying again, I'll kill you all. Hyuga Chen looked indifferently at the pirates who were locked in the cage and yelling. Perhaps really frightened by Hyuga Chen's words, the group of pirates immediately shut their mouths, and even Dice didn't dare to say anything. Suddenly, countless threads of threads erupted from the sky, and threads like volcanic eruptions encircled the entire island. Doflamingo's birdcage. Hyuga Chen smiled lightly at the transparent silk threads, which looked small and fragile, but could actually cut steel. Doflamingo's development of the line fruit is good, although it has not awakened yet, but it is not far from the awakening of the devil fruit. Chen, do you want me to cut these threads? Alvia said. No need, just wait for Doflamingo. I guess he will be here soon. Sure enough, after a while, Doflamingo came along with Corazon by his side. When Doflamingo saw Hyuga Chen, his face suddenly became very ugly, and his eyes suddenly turned to Corazon. When Corazon saw Doflamingo look over, he immediately pretended to be crazy. The 3.1 bar oil paint on the corners of his eyes and his mouth, coupled with the black feather coat and funny movements, looked like a funny clown. Rosanity, my brother, stop pretending, I need an explanation. Doflamingo was really angry. Corazon gestured with both hands, indicating that he did not understand what Doflamingo meant. I know you can talk, and I told you not to pretend. Doflamingo became more and more angry, and drew his pistol at Corazon. He was tricked by his own younger brother. If he knew that Hyuga Chen was here, Doflamingo would never come. It was the information that Corazon gave him, telling him that there was only one lieutenant general here, and that the fruit of the operation was taken away by the vice admiral, otherwise, how could Doflamingo come swaggeringly? Now seeing Hyuga Chen, who was looking at him jokingly, Doflamingo felt that he had been tricked to death by his own younger brother. Chapter 509 Hand Blade Brother. Looking at Doflamingo who pointed a gun at him, Corazon's eyes flickered, and he did have a purpose in harassing Doflamingo. If Doflamingo and Hyuga Chen can be brought into conflict, there is a slight chance that he will get the fruit of the operation to save Luo. Although this trace may be less than 1/10,000th, he will try it even if it is 1/100,000th. He already regards Luo as his son, and he will never allow Luo Yinper's lead disease to die early. Seeing that Corazon was silent, still looking funny, Doflamingo's last patience was exhausted. Do you think I won't kill you? Doflamingo's eyes flashed with cold light, his fingers snapped on the trigger. Bump! A gunshot rang out, blood splashed, and Corazon fell to the ground and covered his arm. The shot did not hit Corazon's vitals. It wasn't that Doflamingo was showing mercy for the sake of his relatives, but that Corazon avoided the key at the critical moment. You are still so ruthless. Corazon put away his clown-like expression and finally spoke to Doflamingo. When 08 was a child, Doflamingo did the same, ignoring his pleas and killing his father in front of him. Rosanity, I didn't want to kill you at all, but you were courting death yourself. Doflamingo's eyes were very indifferent, without the slightest emotion. Tilda, you originally wanted to kill me, right? You should have known that I was a spy of the Navy. Corazon laughed miserably. From the time Doflamingo knew he was pretending to be dumb, Corazon knew that he had found something wrong. It doesn't make sense to say so much, just go see our stupid father. Doflamingo locked Corazon's gun, full of murderous intent. Feeling the danger of death, Corazon stood up and kicked Doflamingo with one foot. He couldn't just die like this, and Luo was still waiting for the fruit of the operation to save his life. Only by eating the fruit of the operation can Luo's lead disease be eliminated, so that Luo can be rescued. It's kind of interesting to actually think about fighting back. Brother Doflamingo's mouth curled into an arc, and the breath on his body became even colder. Super whip. Of transparent ultra-fine silk threads are intertwined to form a hair-like thread called Jinchuriki column, which is then thrown out like a whip. This move can cut through a building. The attack range is very far. The silk thread cuts off Corazon's arm, and the blood splashes. He's actually showing no mercy to his younger brother. This guy is quite cruel. Tautu said. Brother Doflamingo can kill his father at the age of 10, so it's normal not to show mercy, but it's not normal if he shows mercy. Hyuga-chan said softly. The flow of blood caused Corazon to faint, and the severe pain caused cold sweat on his face, but Corazon didn't say a word. His eyes were very calm. Corazon, how are you? After hearing the sound, Corazon immediately turned his head and looked at Luo, who was running over. After seeing Luo, Corazon suddenly became anxious. Why did he come at this time? Didn't he say that no matter what happened, he would not be allowed to come? The original kid, I didn't expect this kid to come here with you too. You want the fruits of surgery to save him. Brother Doflamingo sneered. Corazon didn't speak, but looked at Hyuga-chan, and suddenly fell to his knees on the ground. General Hyuga, this child suffers from lead disease. Only by eating the fruit of the surgery can he eliminate his disease. Please save him, Corazon prayed to Hyuga-chan. Is he familiar with me, or are you familiar with me? Why should I save him? Hyuga-chan said lightly. Trafalgar Law is indeed a good person, but it does not mean that Hyuga-chan will send out the fruits of the operation. He is not a kind person. How is it possible to give the precious item of the fruit of surgery to a stranger? Even if it is really sent out, unless the other party can bring him greater benefits, obviously Luo can't bring him any benefits. As long as you give Luo the fruit of the operation, I can make him work for you. Corazon said. Hyuga-chan shook his head. He didn't need Luo to work. What's more, even if Luo is accepted, whether he will be loyal is also a question. Get up, Corazon. You didn't tell me that you would die standing up, and you would never lie on your knees. Luo walked to Corazon's side, helped him up, and stopped the bleeding. Well said, you are indeed going to die today, wah 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 young. Doflamingo gave a unique laugh. Corazon was disappointed. The fruit of the operation was destined to be lost, and even Luo's life could not be saved. With Corazon's knowledge of Doflamingo, he would definitely not let Luo go. Seeing that the two of you have a deep relationship, I will send you to report to Hades together. Fu yi yi yi. Admiral Hyuga, as a righteous navy, you shouldn't watch Doflamingo kill a child, right? Corazon said loudly. Now no matter what, let's save Luo's life first. Maybe Luo will have a chance to cure the lead disease in the future. The threads that could cut steel had been ejected, and when he could cut Luo this kid in half, Doflamingo stopped. Looked at Hyuga-chan with dread, hated and feared Hyuga-chan as much as flamenco, but fear was more than jealousy. So Doflamingo didn't dare to do it. You guys continue, I'm just watching, don't get involved with me if you have nothing to do, it annoys me, you know. Hyuga-chan felt unhappy. Use him to intimidate Doflamingo. It seems that this guy who behaves like a stupid clown is very shrewd, and he is very annoying if he does not pass Hyuga-chan. Irrelevant people, what does death have to do with me? Hyuga-chan said lightly. Doflamingo suddenly laughed and looked at Corazon with murderous intent. My stupid brother, say goodbye to the world. Doflamingo raised the gun, then jerked the trigger. However, this shot still did not kill Corazon, but although Corazon was not dead, Luo was going to die. Because what Doflamingo aimed at was not Corazon at all, but the kid Luo. Looking at Luo who was shot through his forehead, Corazon had tears in his eyes, and his heart was extremely painful. He originally wanted to save Luo, but he did not expect Luo to die in front of him. Wah 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 young. Do you feel a lot of pain? This is what happens when you betray me. Doflamingo did not hide his cruelty at all. It's your turn now, my stupid brother. The worst thing you ever did was to not betray me. Doflamingo shot again. Corazon didn't dodge, he was also shot through his forehead and fell to the ground. Looking at Luo, who was also on the ground, his eyes gradually closed. Looking at the lifeless Corazon, Doflamingo's eyes flashed with a veiled loss. After Corazon died, his last relative was gone, but if he dared to betray himself, he must die. Chapter 510. Baby 5 Feet's Metal Storm. General Hyuga, long time no see. Doflamingo forced a smile and greeted Hyuga-chen. To be honest, Hyuga-chen was the person he didn't want to see the most, but when he crashed in, Doflamingo had nothing to do. Brother Doflaming, you seem to be very arrogant in the sea recently. Hyuga-chen looked at him lightly. Feeling Hyuga-chen's gaze, Doflamingo was sweating coldly behind his back. His sharp eyes made Doflamingo dare not look directly, as if everything in his heart was seen through. Doflamingo has dealt with Hawkeye, and Hawkeye's eyes are as sharp as a blade, but compared with Hyuga-chen, it's far worse. If facing other generals, even facing extreme Akainu, Doflamingo would have the courage to be arrogant, but when facing Hyuga-chen, his arrogance immediately subsided. Both Guy and Whitebeard were beaten by Hyuga-chen. Although he thought he was good, he didn't dare to be presumptuous in front of Hyuga-chen. General Hyuga is joking, how dare I be arrogant in the sea with you, I am doing business in a proper way. Doflamingo smiled. Sengoku asked me to catch you. Hyuga-chenji said. Doflamingo's fists clenched instantly, his legs tensed, ready to escape at any time. General Hyuga, I don't know what you mean. Doflamingo asked with a very ugly face. Me, of course I want to catch you. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. This time, Doflamingo didn't talk nonsense anymore, his body quickly retreated and fled into the distance. Empty road. Doflamingo tied the clouds in the sky with a thread so thin that it was invisible to the naked eye, so as to achieve the effect of traction and let him fly at high speed in midair. It's too much to think about trying to escape. Hyuga-chen stretched out his finger, a golden light shone in his hand, and a laser shot out from Hyuga-chen's hand. Doflamingo, who was moving at high speed in the sky, suddenly fell, and before falling to the ground, Hyuga-chen appeared in front of him. Before I let you go, you'd better stay with me. Hyuga-chen's legs burst into golden light, and then swept out. Boom! Doflamingo hit the original position again, and the blood in his mouth spurted out without money. Returning to his seat again, Hyuga-chen crossed his legs and looked down at Doflamingo lying on the ground. What does General Hyuga want? Doflamingo got up with difficulty. Chen, why are you talking nonsense with him? I think it's over if you just take him back, or just kill him. Taotu pulled out Jinpyro and pointed at Brother Doflamingo. As soon as Hyuga-chen nodded, Taotu immediately slashed him into 2 pieces. Doflamingo's face was ugly, and he looked at Taotu with hatred eyes. Humph! Taotu snorted coldly, and instantly came to Brother Doflamingo, and then swiftly cut out a sword. Scoff! A huge wound appeared on Doflamingo's body, and his entire body was thrown out. Look at me with those eyes again, and I'll cut you in 2 with 1 knife. I'll do what I say. The slashed Doflamingo fell to the ground, dust flying, and gravel splashing. If it wasn't for Doflamingo so armament hockey defended, he'd be cut in 2 by now. Lying on the ground, Doflamingo was miserable and aggrieved. He was hanged and beaten like a dog. The key is that he didn't dare to get angry. Even if he had fire in his heart, he could only hold it in his heart. At this moment, the sound of heavy footsteps came, and a man wearing a plaid coat, sunglasses, with lightning-shaped temples on both sides of his face came, and he was also wearing a Navy's cloak of justice. Admiral Hyuga, I'm Vice Admiral Virgo, and Marshal Sengoku sent me to capture Doflamingo back. Hyuga-chan's face is half smiling. Maybe this guy thinks he's a fool, right? You were sent by Sengoku. Virgo nodded, his face extremely calm, as if he was really sent by Sengoku. Since that's the case, do I need to call Sengoku and ask? Hyuga-chan jokingly looked at Virgo, really thought he didn't know the two were in a group. Virgo's face tightened. He was one of the top cadres of the Don Quixote family and the first generation of Yuhi, who was sent by Doflamingo to the Navy as a spy. Through a special channel, he learned that Hyuga-chan had also come to Minyan Island, and Virgo, who knew Doflamingo's movements, rushed over immediately. Originally wanted to contact Doflamingo through the phone bug, but for some reason, no one answered. Virgo could only come quickly and hoped in his heart that Doflamingo hadn't met Hyuga-chan, but he was still a step late. Fortunately, Doflamingo wasn't dead yet. Virgo doesn't care about anything else now. He will try to save Doflamingo first. At this time, his identity is exposed, and Doflamingo must be rescued. Looking at Hyuga-chan's playful expression, Virgo's face was heavy, and it seemed that he had been discovered. Dover, you leave first, and I'll block him, Virgo said solemnly, wrapped in armament hockey, looking like a monster. Ha 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 ha, are you trying to block me? Hyuga-chan smiled, this guy is really over his head. I am the person who hates over-the-top people the most. Obviously you are. I want to see what you can do to stop me. Baby 5, teach him a lesson. Baby 5, who was standing behind Hyuga-chan, looked excited, and finally it was her turn to show her talents. Although Baby 5 is young, but Hyuga-chan's strengthening fruit is very pervert, so Baby 5's strength is not weak. Hands turned into metal storm machine guns. Metal storm. Like a violent storm, the bullets shot towards Virgo, and even a building could be pierced in an instant. This is still Baby 5 and it still doesn't know armament hockey. If armament hockey can be blessed, the picture will be absolutely beautiful. Ding, ding, ding. The bullet hit Virgo, making a metal crash sound. Virgo has an armament hockey bodyguard, which does temporarily block the crazy metal storm. After frantically shooting for a minute, Baby 5 finally stopped. Although her body was strengthened by Hyuga-chan's strengthening fruit, her current physical strength can only last for 1 minute at most. But this minute is enough. In this minute, more than 1 million bullets were fired, and Virgo with armament hockey was also shot into a sieve. The quantity has changed into a qualitative change. More than 1 million bullets hit him in 1 minute. Now that Virgo has not been beaten into powder, he is considered powerful. This is too pervert. A warship will also be turned into scrap metal in an instant. Momota was stunned, and she found that even in the face of Baby 5's attack, she could only avoid it. The only downside should be that the physical exhaustion is too fast. Otherwise, it is really too pervert. Hyuga-chan supported Baby 5 and was very satisfied with this attack, but it was more effective against the Lieutenant General, but not so good against the Brigadier General or the Emperor's deputy. Maybe even the generals can't withstand this crazy attack for a long time, but they can easily avoid it. Chapter 511 Task for Doflamingo. Doflamingo was lying on the ground, and he was almost terrified. Fortunately, Virgo was a little far away from him. Otherwise, in his current state of serious injuries, he would definitely die. Is this a weapon fruit? Brother Doflamingo was heartbroken. He didn't expect the weapon fruit to be so strong. If he knew it earlier, he would eat it for the family's cadres, and he would not be robbed by Hyuga-chan. It's useless to regret now. Anyway, the weapon fruit is gone, and thinking about it will only make my heart hurt more. With this time, it is better to think about how to escape. Virgo died. Although Doflamingo was sad, everything was still important to his own life. Doflamingo was a selfish person. Looking at Hyuga-chan, Doflamingo thought how to save his life in Hyuga-chan's hands. In fact, if he is caught, Doflamingo can accept it. Even if he is caught, Doflamingo is sure to come out. After all, he was also a Tianlong person. Now Doflamingo is afraid that Hyuga-chen will kill him directly. Doflamingo, the living are always more valuable than the dead, what do you think you are worth? Hyuga-chen stood up and handed the exhausted 503 baby 5 to Alvia to take care of him, walking towards the Doflamingo on the ground walked away. Doflamingo's expression changed, and he looked up at Hyuga-chen. How much do you think your life is worth? Hyuga-chen asked lightly. I don't know what General Hyuga wants. Ordinary money, you definitely don't like it. Doflamingo got up with difficulty. After Doflamingo got up, he was already taller than Hyuga-chen, which made Hyuga-chen a little unhappy. You better lie on the ground. Heavy pressure was placed on Brother Doflamingo. Brother Doflamingo, who had just stood up, fell to the ground at once, accidentally biting a mouthful of mud. Bah! After spitting out a mouthful of mud, Doflamingo's face was gloomy. Did he really play with him as a dog? But if you want to make a big deal, you have to be able to stretch and bend, and Doflamingo still endured it. I can let you go, but you have to find a devil fruit for me. What devil fruit? Doflamingo was immediately excited when he heard Hyuga-chen say he could let him go. Barrier fruit. After you find this devil fruit, send it to the Navy headquarters. Remember that you only have 2 years. If you haven't found it in 2 years, then you are useless. What happens to useless garbage? I think you should understand. Doflamingo's face is not good looking. To be honest, it is not easy to find a devil fruit in the vast sea. Especially if he was only given 2 years to find a devil fruit that he didn't know where it was, it would kill him. If 2 years did not find it, Doflamingo knew very well what Hyuga-chen would do with him. If Hyuga-chen really wanted to kill him, it would be useless for him to hide anywhere. Why, don't you agree? I don't force people, it doesn't matter if you don't agree. Hyuga-chen's fingers condensed a golden light. The light gathers on the fingers, and the highly compressed and concentrated laser is directed at Doflamingo's head and will be fired at any time. At such a time, can Doflamingo say no? He didn't dare at all. If you agree, you still have a chance to live. If you don't agree to die now, Doflamingo will still settle the account. General Hyuga, rest assured, I will do my best to find the barrier fruit, Doflamingo assured. In fact, he is not sure at all, but in order to survive, he can only guarantee this. If he really can't find it, it is a big deal to seek the protection of the world government. Brother Doflamingo has some secrets from the master, and if the world government doesn't want him to reveal it, it will definitely not die. Very well, I am waiting for your good news. I am very optimistic about your potential. I hope you will not let me down. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. Thank you General Hyuga for your attention. Doflamingo responded with a smile on his face, scolding Mom for selling out. Let's go. Hyuga-chen turned back to the girls and said. What about them? Tina pointed to Diaz and the others who were caught by her. Don't worry about them, they're just a group of little pirates. Let Doflamingo solve it. I think you're okay with that, right? Hyuga-chen looked back at Doflamingo. Doflamingo dared to have an opinion. Of course he didn't dare, and said quickly, it is my honor to serve General Hyuga. Hyuga-chen didn't even look at him and left with the girls. Do you really want to let Doflamingo go? Tina was a little unwilling, and the pirate who was about to be caught, did she let him go? Tina, it's not good for me to catch him, it's better to let him find something for me. Hyuga-chen said. The defense of the barrier fruit is first class, not to mention that the barrier fruit is not only defense, but can also be used to attack, which is considered a first-class devil fruit. Hyuga-chen wanted to get it, but he didn't have the time to look for it, nor was he interested in finding this devil fruit all over the world. Of course, this kind of thing will be done by Doflamingo. Of course, if he can't find him within the time limit, Hyuga-chen will not let him go and send him to die for free. Okay, but I feel that you are still suitable for being a pirate, not a navy at all. Tina said. Tina believes that Hyuga-chen's character is more suitable for being a pirate than a righteous navy. If I hadn't met Garp, I might have really been a pirate. Hyuga-chen smiled. Hyuga-chen and his party walked far, and Doflamingo got up from the ground. His face was dark, and he thought he had used armament hockey. Doflamingo, who was full of anger but didn't dare to vent, looked at Diaz and the others, and his eyes became cruel in an instant. You, what are you doing? Diaz was a little scared, and now Doflamingo looks a little scary. Wah 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 young, if it wasn't for you darn bastards, Virgo wouldn't have died, and I wouldn't have been so embarrassed, so let me die. Bounce. The silk thread in Doflamingo's hand easily cut them all open, and in order to vent his anger, Doflamingo also carried out corpse abuse. After everything was over, the whole scene was like sheer purgatory. Blood was flowing slowly, and Doflamingo had a cruel smile on his face. But thinking of Hyuga-chen, the cruel smile on Doflamingo's face disappeared, replaced by an ugly expression. One day, I will also have the strength of Kun facing the sea. Doflamingo clenched his fists, his eyes full of desire for strength. Perhaps because of Hyuga-chen's relationship, Doflamingo will become stronger than the original. But who knows what will happen in the future? Maybe he can't find the barrier fruit, and it is possible that he will be slaughtered by Hyuga-chen. Chapter 512 Strip Devil Fruit Ability. What, is there something wrong with this surgical fruit? Could it be a fake? Alvia asked, looking at Hyuga-chen who had been researching with the surgical fruit. The fruit of the operation is real, but I'm researching what all devil fruits have in common. Tilda, Hyuga-chen said softly. Something in common with devil fruits. Could it be the curse of devil fruits? Alvia is smart enough to guess. Yes, according to legend, every devil fruit hides a devil. I really want to see what the devil looks like. Hyuga-chen said. Although it is said that the devil fruit is the incarnation of the devil of the sea, there is no record of the devil in the historical text. In fact, no one knows the formation of the devil fruit. Alvia shook her head. The existence of devil fruit is very long, and no one knows when the devil fruit appeared, or that the devil fruit has existed since before the birth of human beings. Hyuga-chen smiled. He also didn't believe that the devil fruit was hiding a demon. If there was a demon hidden, it would have been discovered by Hyuga-chen long ago. Maybe I can try the curse of extracting devil fruits. Hyuga-chen thought for a while. His pupil technique, Devouring God, at the beginning, only had the ability to devour, but after using it, Hyuga-chen developed the ability to extract and deprive. That's why Hyuga-chen was able to use the devourer to peel off the devil fruits that others had eaten. Do what you want, the blue chakra leaks out, and then flows into the devil fruit. I don't know if the power of the devil fruit will be repelled by chakra. This Hyuga-chen also doesn't know, but if you want to strip out the curse of the devil fruit, you must first find the curse power of the devil fruit. Fortunately, chakra did not reject the power of the devil fruit itself, and used chakra to explore the inside of the devil fruit. And Hyuga-chen really found a strange power. First try to see if you can extract it. Hyuga-chen concentrated, and then used God Eater. A black gas drilled out of the surgical fruit and appeared in Hyuga-chen's hand. Sure enough, Hyuga-chen smiled. If nothing else, the fruit of this operation should not be afraid of the side effects of seawater and seafloor stones. Alvia stood behind Hyuga-chen, staring at the black gas in Hyuga-chen's hands. What is this thing? It should be the curse of devil fruit. Catch a fish and try it. Hyuga-chen caught a fish from the sea. Then let the black gas in the hand sink into the fish's body, and then throw it into the sea, and the fish thrown into the sea actually lost its strength and sank toward the bottom of the sea. It seems that my guess is correct. Hyuga-chen nodded, then caught the fish again, and then extracted the black gas from the fish. Looking at the black air and the fruit of the operation in his hand, Hyuga-chen suddenly smiled unscrupulously. Maybe the fruit of the surgery can be sold to the world government, Hyuga-chen said. Sell the fruit of the operation to the world government. I think it's better to keep it. Anyway, we are not short of money. Alvia shook her head. Actually, the fruit doesn't matter. What we want is the power of the devil fruit, so it's better to leave only the power of the devil fruit. Hyuga-Chen extracted a white light group from the surgical fruit. Since the curse of the devil fruit can be extracted, the energy that the devil fruit can impart to human beings with special abilities, of course, can also be extracted by Hyuga-Chen. This is for you. Hyuga-Chen gave Alvia the white ball of light. After Alvia took it, the white light group entered her body. Alvia was shocked and felt a special energy in her body. Alvia stretched out her hand and created a hemispherical space with one hand, wrapping the entire surrounding of the warship, and randomly controlling a sea beast in the sea to float up. The light was condensed in his hand, facing the sea beast wrapped in the global body space, and the sea beast was instantly torn apart. However, although it was torn apart, this sea beast was like eating a torn apart fruit, without bleeding or dying, and was still alive and kicking. This is the ability of the surgical fruit. But I didn't eat the surgical fruit at all. Alvia looked at Hyuga-Chen in surprise, and now the surgical fruit is still in Hyuga-Chen's hands. Could it be the white light group from before? Alvia asked. Hyuga-Chen nodded. It was indeed the light group, and it was the light group that was the key to empowering devil fruit eaters. Now the fruit of surgery in Hyuga-Chen's hands is already an ordinary fruit, without any special power. It should be said that it is a very unpalatable ordinary fruit. However, instead of throwing it, Hyuga-Chen threw the black ball of cursed gas into the fruit of the surgery again. Sell this to the world government. I believe it should give a good price. Hyuga-Chen said with a smile. Alvia also had a smile on her face. Chen, you are so bad. Robin, who was sitting not far away, pouted. The two of them laughed so well. Wretched. If Alvia knew that Robin said she was wretched in her heart, would she be angry and give her a lesson? Under the control of Hyuga-Chen, the warship rode the wind and waves, and soon came to the windless zone, and caught a group of sea kings again in the windless zone. Now that the windless zone has become Hyuga-Chen's fishing ground, the sea kings are about to cry. We sea kings are the overlords of the sea. You come to arrest us from time to time for several reasons. Are you not afraid of arresting us to extinction? Leaving the windless belt, he quickly arrived at the Yuhi soil continent, and flew up again arrogantly, but this time, instead of flying directly over, he flew towards the residence of the 5 old stars. Wu Laoxing frowned as he looked at the warship flying towards him. Hyuga-Chen seemed to be looking for them. In fact, they didn't want to see Hyuga-Chen, because when they saw Hyuga-Chen, they were definitely angry. What do you think Hyuga-Chen's purpose for coming here? The bald-headed 5 old star asked with a gloomy face. Looking at Hyuga-Chen's warship, he felt a pain in his face, but he would never forget the slap Hyuga-Chen once gave him. The other 5 old stars shook their heads. How did they know what Hyuga-Chen was thinking? I hope it's not to cause trouble, otherwise it will be a big trouble. The 5 old stars with flat hat and curly hair said. I'm not afraid of making trouble. Even if his Conqueror's Haki is powerful, it doesn't mean that his other abilities are as strong as Conqueror's Haki. The 5 of us may not be his opponent when we join forces, said the Taoist 5 old stars. Lord Yimu said, don't provoke him. Do you want to make Lord Yimu angry? The long-haired Wu Laoxing glanced at the Taoist Wu Laoxing lightly. This is the Holy Land Mary Joa, the world government headquarters. We don't need to be too afraid of him. Let's understand his purpose first, said the blonde 5 old stars. And while they were talking, Hyuga-Chen's warship had come to them. Chapter 513 The Lion Speaks Up. Long time no see, I miss you so much. Hyuga-Chen greeted with a smile. Seeing the bright smile on Hyuga-Chen's face, the 5 old stars became more vigilant. He was definitely making a bad idea. Looking at me so vigilantly makes me sad. Hyuga-Chen jumped off the warship in midair. Wu Laoxing's face was expressionless. They didn't see any sadness in Hyuga-Chen. Hyuga-Chen, if you have anything, just say it straight. The bald-headed 5 old stars said coldly. No one would be nice to someone who had beaten him. Even if he knew that Hyuga-Chen was strong, he would not give it to Hyuga-chen. Good face. Hee, what are you doing in such a hurry? That's how you treat the guests when they come. The 5 of you are really rude. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. The 5 old stars looked at each other, and then the flat hat 5 old stars stood up and said, then please let General Hyuga come with us. The 5 old stars took Hyuga-chen into their residence, and the girls on the warship also jumped down and followed behind Hyuga-chen. Tisk tisk, the place where you live is really luxurious, it seems that you have corrupted a lot, right? Hyuga-chen said, looking at the luxurious decorations around him. Wu Laoxing's face is ashen. Why are they so ugly? Did they still need to embezzle? Wu Laoxing asked Hyuga-chen to sit down, and then asked the waiter to pour tea. They also sat down and looked at Hyuga-chen. This tea is very good. It seems that you can enjoy it very much. Would you mind giving me some tea when you leave? Hyuga-chen took a sip of tea and nodded with satisfaction. Hyuga-chen, do you really take this place as your own home? The bald-headed 5 old star patted the table, his fiery temper couldn't bear it anymore. Everyone is their own, your home is my home, why are you so outspoken, saying this hurts your feelings? You. The bald-headed 5 old stars were furious, who is your own? Okay, everyone is very busy, you can also talk about your intentions. The long-haired 5 old star said. He was angry at the bald-headed 5 old stars, and wanted to intervene to smooth things out, so as to avoid a conflict between the bald-headed 5 old stars and Hyuga-chen. Once there is a conflict, it goes without saying that the 5 bald-headed stars will definitely suffer. Since I got to the point, I won't talk nonsense with you, do you accept this? Hyuga-chen took out the fruit of the operation and put it on the table. This is the fruit of the operation. The 5 old stars all stood up at once. The fruit of surgery is a devil fruit that can make people immortal. How could they not know it, and they themselves are the beneficiaries of the fruit of surgery. The 5 old stars existed at the beginning of the establishment of the world government, and they have lived for more than 800 years. It is because of the fruits of the operation that they can survive for so long. Several people looked at each other. Of course they wanted the fruit of surgery. In fact, it was wrong that the fruit of surgery could give humans eternal life. It is true that the fruit of surgery can increase lifespan, but it must not give people immortality. They bought this fruit of surgery to prolong their lives, although they could feel that they still had a lot of lifespan, and it would be fine to live for a few hundred more years. But there are 5 of them, and the ageless operation of the fruit of the operation cannot act on 5 people at the same time. Therefore, it is impossible for them to wait until their lifespan is approaching to find the fruit of surgery, not to mention that not everyone can use the surgery of immortality. Looking at the fruit of the operation, the 5 people were short of breath, which was used to prolong their lives. The fruit of the operation was placed on the table, but the 5 old stars did not dare to take it. Now that the fruit of the operation belonged to Hyuga-chen, they dared not move it casually. This devil fruit is worth 5 billion baileys. Since it is General Hyuga, how about we buy 10 billion baileys? Asked the 5 old stars with a flat hat. I don't lack things like money at all, let's get some really good things out. For example, that knife, I look good. Hyuga-chen looked at the knife in the hands of the Taoist 5 old stars. Taopao Wu Laoxing was furious. For him, this knife was his life. Is this knife the first generation of Onishi? I like it very much, or I will use a devil fruit to exchange it with you. Hyuga-chen took out a devil fruit again. This devil fruit is very powerful. If I hadn't already eaten the devil fruit, I would have eaten it myself, alas, what a pity. Hyuga-chen held the devil fruit in his hand with a pity. And behind Hyuga-chen, the girls who knew what this devil fruit was, almost couldn't help laughing. This fruit is the weak fruit, the devil fruit that only makes people weaker. In addition to weakening the eater, it has no other effect at all, and it can be called a waste fruit among waste fruits. Humph! Taopao Wu Laoxing snorted coldly. He didn't even bother to eat devil fruits, he only loved Kendo Zero. What's more, Taopao 5 old stars believe that this is definitely not a good devil fruit. If it was really a good devil fruit, Hyuga-chan wouldn't be so kind to him. Let's talk about the fruit of the surgery. The blonde 5-old star saw that the topic was about to go too far, and hurriedly brought the topic back again. Okay, 50 devil fruits, 10 famous knives, and the door fruit, this surgical fruit is yours. Hyuga-chan Lion opened his mouth, and the bite was ruthless. What is the concept of 50 devil fruits? Devil fruits are at least 100 million Baileys, and they are not available if you want to buy them. Famous knives are even more elusive, and the door fruit is a very powerful devil fruit, and in Hyuga-chan's eyes, its value is not weaker than the fruit of surgery. It's just that the user of the door fruit is too garbage, probably because the user is a dragon. As long as things related to space and time are generally very pervert, the door fruit is the devil fruit of the space department, how can it be garbage? There are not many space-related devil fruits, one door fruit, and one operation fruit. The faces of the 5 old stars were ugly, and Hyuga-chan was too lion to open his mouth. They can get 50 devil fruits. After all, the world government has existed for more than 800 years, and there is a collection of this. 10 famous knives can also be taken out, but the price is too high. 1.2 is just this little thing, I don't think the world government can afford it, right? Hyuga-chan looked at the 5 old stars in surprise. In fact, these are not too many in Hyuga-chan's opinion. The Tianlong people like to collect devil fruits. They have a lot of stocks. If they want 100, it is estimated that the world government can also take them out. Although they can take it out, they don't want to be taken advantage of. The fruit of surgery is precious, but they feel a little worthless for so many things in exchange for the fruit of surgery. Think about it. The fruit of surgery can give people immortality. You should be clear about this value. For you, it's just to exchange some useless things for useful things. Hyuga-chan said. The 5 old stars looked at each other and finally nodded. For them, this can't be regarded as a loss. This is what they need to prolong their lives. No matter how precious things are, they are not as important as their lives. Chapter 514 Give you a weak fruit to eat. Looking at the 50 devil fruits and 10 famous knives brought by the 5 old stars, Hyuga-chan nodded in satisfaction. The fruit of the door will take a while. If General Hyuga doesn't mind waiting, just wait here, said the long-haired 5 old stars. Send this to the Navy headquarters. I don't have time to wait here. These Tianlong people are so ugly, I feel that it affects my mood when I see them. Of those Tianlong people, few are good-looking, most of them are ugly and wretched fat pigs. The 5 old stars nodded. In fact, they didn't want Hyuga-chan to stay in the Holy Land Mary Joa too much. Who knows if he will make a fool of himself. Put a bunch of devil fruits and 10 famous knives into the system space, and all the 50 devil fruits are animal devil fruits. Although they are all animal-based devil fruits, they can also reveal the wealth of the world government. Only the world government can produce so many devil fruits. It can't be said that the world government took it out, it should be said that it is the devil fruit collected by the Tianlong people. After all, only the heavenly dragons would keep the devil fruit and not use it. If it was handed over to the 5 old stars, it might have been used to increase the strength of the world government. Seeing Hyuga-chan waving away the devil fruit, Wu Laoxing felt distressed and couldn't help but be surprised. This should be a space method, right? For a while, the 5 old stars were even more afraid of Hyuga-chan. Hyuga-chan was too mysterious, so far they didn't know too much information about Hyuga-chan. After thinking about it for a long time, I still decided to exchange it with you. Hyuga-chan took out the weak fruit and looked at the 5 old stars of Taoism. I'll give you this devil fruit, you have to develop it well, I'll take the first generation of ghosts. Hyuga-chan grabbed the first generation of ghosts, and then stuffed the weak fruit into the mouth of the 5 old stars of Taoism inside. Everything was completed in an instant, not to mention other people, even the Daopao 5 old stars involved, did not react. After reacting, Hyuga-chan had already left with the first generation ghost, and the 5 old stars of Taoism had also swallowed the weak fruit. Hyuga Chen, hurry up and return my knife to me. Taopao Wu Lao Xing roared angrily. Sorry, what's in my hand is mine. Hyuga Chen waved his hand and left with the girls. Before leaving, the women gave him a sympathetic look and ate the weak fruit. I didn't expect that the dignified 5 old stars, the top managers of the world government, would end up like this. It's so sad. Shali shook her head and sighed, her eyes full of schadenfreude. The world government was inherently unfriendly to Mermaid Island, and of course Charlie didn't like the world government either. What do you mean? Daopao Wu Laoxing frowned, and then he felt a little weak, and the strength he was proud of was slowly disappearing. This time, Daopao Wu Laoxing was startled, and the originally fierce face became even more fierce, and his face distorted and roared, Hyuga Chen, what did you give me to eat? Of course it's the devil fruit, the superhuman type, the weak fruit, which can make people weaker and weaker. Enjoy it. Ha 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 ha, Hyuga Chen laughed. The other 4 looked at the Taoist 5 old stars, and then at Hyuga Chen, and couldn't help but look at each other. There is such a devil fruit. As far as they have learned, almost every devil fruit will increase its strength, but it will have an additional weakness of being afraid of seawater and sea towers, but this is the first time they have heard of a devil fruit that weakens its own strength. Maybe you are the first person to eat this devil fruit. I believe you can carry forward this devil fruit. Hyuga Chen gave Taopao Wu Laoxing a look that I was optimistic about you. Daopao Wu Laoxing spit out a mouthful of blood, and was really about to die of anger, and his anger attacked his heart. Actually, I can also take out the devil fruits. Just give me 50 more devil fruits, and I'll help you take out the weak fruits. You can decide this for yourself. You can come to the Navy headquarters to find me after you think about it. Hyuga Chen said with a smile. As long as there is no accident, another 50 devil fruits, this is really profitable. Hyuga Chen secretly sighed that he was smart. Wu Laoxing's face is dark. This is to treat them as a devil fruit shop, right? Let's go. Hyuga Chen took the girls away. He believed that 50 devil fruits would be in his hands. No strong man is willing to become a weak man, which is definitely more uncomfortable than killing him. Hyuga Chen took the girls on the warship and left, and the 5 old stars were speechless, feeling the momentum of the 5 old stars in Taoist robes, and they had nothing to do. Why don't you ask Mr. Yimu to see if Mr. Yimu has a solution? The 5 old stars with flat hats suggested. It's useless, even if you eat the devil fruit. Even Lord Yimu can't do anything. Maybe the mysterious Hyuga Chen can do it, said the 5 old stars with blonde hair. 50 devil fruits can only be collected from the Tianlong people. Now they are dissatisfied with these 50. If they want another 50, it will be even more difficult. Taopao Wu Laoxing's face was very ugly. He doesn't know what the virtues of the Tianlong people are. It is absolutely impossible to give him the devil fruit again. Now that he has lost his strength and has even become weaker than ordinary people, the Taoist 5 old stars feel particularly uncomfortable. The 5 people sat there silently, and among them, the 5 old stars in Taopao were particularly uncomfortable. However, he was very uncomfortable right now, but Hyuga Chen felt very refreshed. 50 devil fruits, plus 10 famous knives. Hyuga Chen let the system recover all of them. The exchange points skyrocketed by 750,000 at once. In addition to the previous exchange points, now Hyuga Chen's exchange points have exceeded the 133 million mark, and there are already 1.06 million exchange points. It's really a big profit this time. Hyuga Chen sat on the warship with his legs crossed. General Hyuga is really amazing. Even the 5 old stars just looked at your face. Aim looked at Hyuga Chen with admiration. No way, brother's strength is strong, just call me Brother Chen in the future. General Hyuga sounds awkward. Hyuga Chen patted Ain's head. Okay Brother Chen, Ain called sweetly. I didn't expect the world government to have so many devil fruits. Alvia really didn't expect that the world government would be able to produce so many devil fruits all at once. This is not an artificial devil fruit, but a real devil fruit. The main reason is that the Tianlong people are rich. If you have searched the entire world for 800 years, there must be a lot of good things. There is no shortage of precious items for the Tianlong people. Some nobles often send precious items to the Tianlong people in order to curry favor with the Tianlong people. For example, all kinds of precious swordsmen, as well as devil fruits and so on. If you have time, you can go to the Tianlong people to rob them. They have more oil and water than the world government. After all, the world government serves the Tianlong people. Go back to the Navy headquarters. I wonder if Sengoku will be angry this time. Hyuga-chan said inexplicably. Corazon is the adopted son of Sengoku. Now that Corazon is dead, I don't know what will happen to Sengoku. Chapter 515 Sengoku with a livid face. The first generation of ghosts is really good. It's a good knife. Hyuga-chan pulled out the knife in his hand, and the dark ghost was entangled, as if he could hear the ghost's cry. This knife is a demon knife, and it is not something that ordinary people can control. If you can't control this knife will attack the master. Alvia said. Of course, she wasn't worried that Hyuga-chan couldn't control this sword. With Hyuga-chan's strength, how could she not be able to control this sword? Looking at the uninhabited island 10 miles away, Hyuga-chan swung a sword, and the black sword glow cut through the sky, as if there was a roar of a ghost in the sword glow, piercing the soul. Within 0.1 seconds, the knife beam slashed on the island 10 miles away, instantly cutting the entire island in half. Although the island is not big, it still feels too exaggerated to see that Hyuga-chan is separated by a distance of 5 kilometers, cutting an island like tofu. Especially after the island was cut open, the sword light did not disappear, but cut a trace on the sea, making the sea unable to close for a long time. There are not many people who can cut open the sea water and make the sea water unable to close for a while. Tina, Ain and other women have big mouths. This is really exaggerated, no wonder they can beat Whitebeard, or easily beat Whitebeard. The corners of Sha Li's mouth twitched. She has now accepted her fate. 2 years ago, she thought about running away after becoming strong, but now she has no such idea. Not to mention she can't escape. Even if she can escape, she may not leave now, at least it's better here than on Mermaid Island. Charlie didn't have many friends on Mermaid Island, so she was very lonely, at least not now. The warship swiftly headed towards Marine Fando, and soon returned to Marine Fando. Hyuga-chan had just returned, and Sengoku couldn't wait to find him. Apparently he knew by this time that Corazon was dead. General Hyuga, what's going on? Why didn't Doflamingo get it back? Sengoku's expression was a little angry. Corazon's death really hit him. Although Corazon was only Sengoku's adopted son, Sengoku's feelings for him were real. There's no way to do this. Vice Admiral Virgo belongs to Doflamingo. That guy swears to cover Doflamingo's escape, and I can't do anything about it. Hyuga-chan spread his hands helplessly. Sengoku's face was ashen. There was nothing he could do, it was just an excuse. The general and the lieutenant general seem to have only one rank difference, but the strength is very different. A lieutenant general can stop the general. It can only be said that this can only be achieved in a dream. What's more, the general who was blocked was Hyuga-chan. If Virgo had the strength to block Hyuga-chan, he wouldn't have to come undercover, he would have gone to the New World to be the 4th emperor. Don Quixote Rossindi, aka Corazon, was killed by Doflamingo. Sengoku asked. Although the news has been received, Sengoku still wants to make sure. That's right, it's just a pirate. It's not a pity to die. Marshal Sengoku doesn't need to care about such a small person. Hyuga-chan's expression was casual. Sengoku clenched his fists and said angrily, "He is my adopted son." Really? Marshal Sengoku actually accepted a pirate as his adopted son, tisk tisk. Hyuga-chan shook his head. Sengoku was about to vomit blood. He's an undercover agent lurking beside Doflamingo, Sengoku roared. It turns out to be like this. It's really sad. Marshal Sengoku also asks my condolences, but why are you yelling at me? What does the death of your adopted son have anything to do with me? It's not that I killed him. Hyuga-chen doesn't care, said. You were there right then. Why didn't you save him? Sengoku demanded angrily. Sengoku, I have no reason to save him. He is your adopted son, not mine. What does his life and death have to do with me? Hyuga-chen's expression turned cold after listening to Sengoku's question. General Hyuga, pay attention to your manner of speaking. Sengoku blushed. What's wrong with my attitude? Since you care so much about your adopted son, why did you let him be a spy in the first place? You are not capable of protecting your adopted son and yelling in front of me. If you are capable, go out to sea to avenge him. Hyuga-chen looked at him disdainfully. Sengoku was hurt by Hyuga-chen's words. He is a naval marshal, can he easily leave the naval headquarters? Well, the main reason is that Sengoku really can't kill Doflamingo. That guy has the identity of a dragon. This may not be known to others, but Sengoku is very clear. So even if Sengoku was caught, Doflamingo couldn't handle it. The enemy is free on the sea. You Admiral only know that Yuhi is angry with his eyes. Fart Admiral, useless. Without even looking at Sengoku, Hyuga-chen took the girls away. After Hyuga-chen left, the Navy who was attracted to watch the fun immediately dispersed. Now Sengoku's eyes are really scary. They are afraid of causing trouble, but they admire Hyuga-chen so much in their hearts, they actually scolded Marshal Sengoku. Sengoku sat on the ground, his eyes a little confused. Now he is indeed a bit useless, and the 5 old stars have already sent an order, don't pay attention to Brother Doflamingo. With this order, it is doomed that Sengoku can no longer do anything to Doflamingo, and really can only watch the guy who killed his adopted son arrogant in the sea. He is obviously a marshal of the Navy, but he can't even deal with the little pirate Doflamingo. He is really aggrieved and useless. After sitting on the ground for a long time, Sengoku stood up to clean up his mood, and then went back to work lonely. The marshal scolded him with blood. Tina said that she opened her eyes, and how could Sengoku be considered his boss? But when you think about Hyuga-chen facing the 5 old stars, it's understandable. The 5 old stars don't care, let alone the Admiral of the Navy. Tina, I think you should hurry up and practice. Except for the sugar, you are the weakest here, and even Ain is stronger than you. Hyuga-chen said. Understood. Tina nodded, even if Hyuga-chen didn't say that she would strengthen her practice, after all, she was very competitive. Tina found Alvia and asked Alvia to instruct her to practice. Alvia's teaching ability was much stronger than Hyuga-chen, mainly because Hyuga-chen was too lazy to teach at all. Anyway, Monet, Baby 5, Robin and the others all followed Alvia to practice. Why are you so lazy? Robin couldn't help complaining when he looked at Hyuga-chen lying in the sun basking in the sun. What do you know? I'm thinking about life right now, a kid like you won't understand. Hyuga-chen said after taking a sip of juice. Yes, you 10 are thinking about life. Robin gave Hyuga-chen a blank look, then continued to read. I really don't know what you mean by reading books every day. It's boring. What do you know? You don't understand anything. There is a lot of knowledge in books, especially history books. Robin said angrily. Hey, I still think it's good to bask in the sun. Is it useful to study history all day? Hyuga-chen said with narrowed eyes. In Hyuga-chen's view, the past is gone, and history has nothing to study. Chapter 516 Discussing the 7 Seas 1. 4 years have passed in a blink of an eye, and many things have happened in those 4 years. Doflamingo worked hard, finally found the barrier fruit, and immediately sent it to Hyuga-chen. So he finally breathed a sigh of relief, and finally saved a small life. Long time ago, the world government sent someone to send the door fruit, and Hyuga-chen suddenly had 2 more powerful devil fruits. Another major event is that Fisher Tiger climbed to the top of the Yuhi soil with his bare hands, made a scene in the Holy Land Marijoa, and liberated many slaves. He was the first person in history to make a fuss about Marijoa, and also the first person who dared to challenge the world government. It should be a fish man. However, if you dare to provoke the authority of the world government, of course, the end will not be very good. It is still the same as the original, ambushed by the Navy, and finally died of excessive blood loss. The sea is still chaotic, and Fisher Tiger is just a wave on the sea. Although Tiger played the Holy Land of Mary Joa and was admired by countless pirates, he was soon forgotten after Tiger died. The four emperors also completely returned to their positions. Yuhi Fashanks successfully won the last four emperors with his amazing strength and powerful crew. Looking at Kurla, who was pretty and cute, dressed as a Navy cadet, Hyuga-chan was slightly surprised. Kurla, I didn't expect you to join the Navy. 800. Big brother, you can still remember me. Kurla was surprised. She hadn't seen Hyuga-chan for 6 years, and she was still able to know her, which really surprised Kurla. You are Sister Kurla. Sugar came over and looked at Kurla in surprise. Sugar, it's really been a long time, you've grown up. Kurla picked up Sugar. Although they didn't get along for a long time, they were separated for another 6 years, but Sugar and Kurla were very close, and even Monet, the elder sister, felt jealous. Kurla, you joined the Navy, will you be able to play with me often after that? Sugar looked at Kurla expectantly, and of course she was happy to have another playmate. Kurla nodded and said with a smile, as long as I have time, I will come to accompany you. Exiatang, this stubborn little girl, finally doesn't bother me anymore. Hyuga-chan drank a sip of tea and said with a smile. Bang, bang, bang. Hearing the knock on the door, Alvia walked over to open the door. There was a Navy soldier outside the door, and he saluted immediately after seeing Alvia. Lieutenant General Alvia, Marshal Sengoku is looking for General Hyuga. That's right, Alvia is now the Vice Admiral of the Navy. When she heard Hyuga-chan was looking for him, Alvia let him in. Sengoku is looking for me for something. What is it? Hyuga-chan asked, looking at the soldier. Marshal Sengoku really has something to call General Hyuga. As for what it is, this subordinate is just sending a letter, so of course I don't know, but the other generals and lieutenant generals have been called. I see. Hyuga-chan nodded and let the soldier leave. At this time, Hyuga-chan almost guessed what was going on. At this time, the pirates are very powerful. If all the pirates add up, their power will definitely exceed the Navy. Although the pirates will not unite, the Navy is still the strongest armed group on the sea, but the form on the sea is out of control at this time. The number of pirates is increasing, and more four pirates are pouring into the Great Channel, which brings great pressure to the Navy. So at this time, it is very likely to discuss the matter of the Chiwahai, let the pirates restrain the pirates, and also want to limit the four emperors of the New World. In the future, when the four emperors, the Navy and the Chiwahai under the king stand on a three-legged stand, of course the weakest of the three forces is the Chiwahai, and the Chiwahai even has to obey the mobilization of the Navy. Chiwahai and the Navy basically belong to a cooperative relationship, and it is impossible to say who is higher in rank, but since they have obtained the corresponding power and status, of course there are some costs to pay. In fact, Shichibukai is very embarrassing, whether it is the Navy or the pirates, they are not welcome to see them. However, Chiwahai also has privileges. After becoming Chiwahai, as long as they do not do too much things, the Navy will turn a blind eye to them. I'll take a look. Hyuga-chan put down the tea in his hand, then stood up and walked towards the meeting room of the Navy headquarters. On the way to the conference room, Hyuga-chan met Garp, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Garp doesn't have many days in the Navy now, but he has 2 grandchildren to take care of. Although Garp seems a little irresponsible and can't take care of them often, he will visit his grandson whenever he has free time. Chen boy, long time no see. Garp yawned and greeted Hyuga-chan with squinted eyes. Long time no see, do you know what Sengoku does in a meeting? Garp shook his head, he just came back, and he didn't even see Sengoku's face, how could he know what Sengoku was going to do in the meeting? After the two came to the conference room, everyone was there, and he was the only one left. Sengoku was expressionless and waited until Hyuga Tatsu and Garp sat down before Sengoku spoke. The current form of the sea, everyone should be very clear. Now facing the growing number of pirates, our navy is no longer capable. Sure enough, it's about the Shichibukai. Although Sengoku hasn't mentioned the Shichibukai yet, based on his long speech, he can basically guess it. So I thought of a countermeasure. I'm going to let the pirates to check and balance the pirates. I will select 7 powerful and deterrent pirates, and use their strength to check and balance the pirates. They are collectively referred to as the 7 Wuhei under the king. After Sengoku finished speaking, Akainu frowned and asked the pirates to check and balance the pirates, which is unreliable. Why did they help us suppress the pirates? Sengoku glanced at the green pheasants and said, as long as the world government recognizes their existence, withdraws their bounty, no longer targets them, and allows them to establish their own forces, I believe that many people will be willing to join. After hearing that, Zephyr patted the table and stood up abruptly. This is condoning the pirates and complicit with the pirates. I firmly disagree with this matter. Zephyr hates pirates extremely, how could he be willing to accept such a plan? Sengoku looked at Zephyr and felt a little helpless. He and Zephyr were from the same era, and of course he knew Zephyr's dislike of pirates. Sengoku, who proposed the Shichibukai plan, also hates pirates, but he can only suppress the chaos on the sea in this way. I'm no longer an admiral, so don't ask me to discuss anything. Zephyr left angrily. Zephyr left the table in anger, and the rest were silent. Now the world governments have endorsed the plan. Since the world government has agreed, what's the point of holding this meeting now? Hyuga-chan said, tapping on the table. I want you to not have any emotions, all this is to stop the evil pirates. Sengoku said in a deep voice. Sengoku, have you ever thought that this will also encourage the arrogance of some pirates? Carp left angrily after speaking. Sengoku sighed. None of you understand my pressure. Chapter 517 Discussing the Seven Seas 2. A long silence in the conference room. Sengoku asked again, what's your opinion now? The departure of 2 old comrades, Zephyr and Carp, makes Sengoku a little embarrassed now. What's more, Sengoku also knows Zephyr's situation very well. His family was killed by pirates, so Zephyr hates pirates very much. Just that Hyuga-chan didn't understand why he had a bloody feud with the pirates, but Zephyr didn't kill a single pirate, and was called the "don't kill" general. Zephyr has 2 titles in total, one is Black Arm, Zephyr, and the other is Don't Kill, General. Compared with the title of Black Arm, it seems that the title, Don't Kill, is more famous. Seeing that everyone was focusing their attention on himself, Hyuga-chan shrugged and said, I don't have any objections. It doesn't matter if I want to establish Chiwahai or not. Hyuga-chan has no interest in meddling in these nostalgic affairs. His status as a naval admiral is just a name, and he doesn't care about it at all. Since Hyuga-chan's statement has nothing to do with him, then the 3 generals, Akainu, Kizaru and Aokiji, are left. The other lieutenant generals, except for the Crane, have no right to speak at all. And Crane has been persuaded by Sengoku. Crane also agreed to Sengoku's plan of the 7 Wukai. I object, I don't agree with the Chiwahai plan. Akainu said, he does not allow a trace of evil, and naturally he will not admit those pirates. In the end, Akainu objected, Kizaru was neutral, and Aokiji considered it for a long time and chose to agree with the plan of the king's Chiwahai. In fact, now that the world government has agreed, even if the 3 generals of Akainu, Kizaru, and Aokiji all oppose it, it will be useless in the end. So even though Akainu was angry, he still couldn't stop Sengoku's plan to use barbarians to conquer barbarians. Now it's time to discuss who to choose to be the king of the 7 Wuhai. Sengoku thought. You must choose a deterrent, and you can't have too many connections with the 4 emperors. It is best to stand on the opposite side of the 4 emperors to become the king's Chiwahai. The main purpose of the Chiwahai under the king is to check and balance the four emperors. It is definitely not possible to choose the people under the four emperors to become the Chiwahai. I have a personal choice, the world's largest swordsman Mahak. He is fully qualified for the position of Chiwahai. Qingzi said. That guy has an unclear relationship with Yuhi Fashanks, one of the four emperors. Who knows if it can be used? Akainu said dissatisfied. Let's tentatively choose one of Hawkeye's first. Sengoku said, able to compete with Yuhi, one of the four emperors. Hawkeye's strength is very strong, and it can barely be regarded as a general-level combat power. After all, to be recognized as the world's greatest swordsman, this swordsmanship should be at the top. However, the title of the world's largest swordsman also has water. Sengoku looked at Hyuga-chan. Hyuga-chan's swordsmanship is definitely stronger than Hawkeye. And there is the 5-old star with the sword. The powerful and terrifying breath makes Sengoku dare not underestimate, and the swordsmanship is definitely better than Hawkeye. But Sengoku hasn't seen Wu Laoxing for a long time, and he doesn't know that the current Taoist Wu Laoxing has become a chicken. Hyuga-chen fed him a weak fruit. It is estimated that now he should be the weakest creature in the world. Give him a knife, it is estimated that he can't even kill a chicken. Moonlight Mariah is also good, and he and Guy have a grudge, so he's an object of consideration. Hyuga-chen almost laughed when he heard it. It wasn't that he looked down on Moonlight Mariah, in fact Moonlight Mariah was a rookie. If you find the weakest among the Chiwahai, it is definitely Moria, who is the largest and the weakest among the Chiwahai. General Hyuga's recommendation, Sengoku asked, looking at Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen, who was sitting there in a daze, was taken aback for a moment, and then asked with a smile, do you really want me to recommend it? I think Brother Doflamingo is good, what do you think? Sengoku's face darkened. Doflamingo is indeed qualified to be one of the king's Shichibukai, but can Sengoku make him the king's Shichibukai? Obviously not possible. Discuss it for yourself. I won't accompany you. Hyuga-chen got up and left. He really wasn't interested in participating in this. Back at the door of the house, Hyuga-chen saw an acquaintance, with a bald head in a Taoist robe, with a ferocious face and a frightening look, and there were people beside him supporting him. Isn't this a noble 5-old star? How come you came to the Navy headquarters? You are so low-key, this is not in line with your identity. Hyuga-chen said with a smile. Daopao Wu Laoxing's face turned dark, and he resisted his displeasure. He showed a smile to Hyuga-chen. Probably because I have never laughed before, but now it feels very scary to laugh, and it is guaranteed to scare children to tears. Put away this reluctant smile. It looks uglier than crying. Hyuga-chen said sarcastically. Daopao Wu Laoxing felt very embarrassed and didn't give him any face. Fortunately, there were no outsiders here, otherwise he would lose face. Chen, you're back, they're here to find you. Alvia opened the door and walked out. Hyuga-chen nodded, then looked at the Taoist 5-old stars and said, I didn't expect you to come to me now. This guy can bear it, he actually endured it for 4 years before coming to him. I don't know if I can take out the devil fruit in my body, it's 50 devil fruits. Daopao Wu Laoxing motioned to present 50 devil fruits. Are several bags full of devil fruits, all placed in front of Hyuga-chen. This is the devil fruit obtained by the Taoist 5-old stars with all their hard work. In order to take the devil fruit from the Tianlongren, the Taoist Wu Laoxing suffered a lot. The key is that he can't take the Tianlongren. Although Wu Laoxing's status is higher than most Tianlong people, but even so, he does not dare to do anything to Tianlong people. Hyuga-chen poured out the devil fruit, and then asked Alvia to count it, and it turned out to be 50 devil fruits. Hyuga-chen immediately glanced at the Taoist 5-old stars with contempt. This guy won't be in trouble. Although Hyuga-chen asked for 50 devil fruits, doesn't this guy know how many more to please him? Originally, I wanted to invite him in for a cup of tea, but now Hyuga-chen is not interested anymore. Take out the weak fruit in his body, and then directly let him get out. After taking out the weak fruit, The poor Dao Pao 5 old stars who were already weak have regained their strength all of a sudden. In fact, his strength has not disappeared, but it was sealed by the power of the fruit. Now that the power of the fruit has disappeared, his strength has naturally recovered. The 5 old stars of the Taoist robe were relieved to recover their strength. In fact, he was ready to disappear and then start all over again. Unexpectedly, his strength did not disappear. Now that the weak fruits have been taken out, the 5 old stars of the Taoist robe will stay there soon, and immediately take people away. Sa Hyuga Chen, so of course he wouldn't stay here too long. I didn't even say thank you, nothing. Hyuga Chen scolded in dissatisfaction. Alvia chuckled and said thank you, it's good that he didn't fight with Hyuga Chen. Before the 5 old stars knocked on the door, Alvia opened the door and looked at it, and shut him out. It is estimated that he should be so angry now. And Chen didn't give him a good anger. It is estimated that it is already very good not to be angry now. Chapter 518 Go to 9 Snake Island. Recycling these 50 animal devil fruits to the system, Hyuga Chen's exchange point has reached 1.75 million. These exchange points Hyuga Chen didn't move, and he didn't have anything in particular that he needed, and the real good things couldn't be bought at this exchange point. So keep these exchange points for now. Compared with the good things in the mall, these exchange points are not even a fraction. A few days later, the first Wangxia Chihuahai was born, and the first one to join the Wangxia Chihuahai was Eagle Eye, and Qingzi personally invited it. Moonlight Mariah and Sand Crocodile Rock Doll were also invited to become the king of Kibukai. Hexia Jinping also joined the Chihuahai under the king, and used the rights of the Chihuahai to liberate the Murlocs, including the dragons, who were imprisoned in the deep-sea prison. Bartholomew Shang also took the initiative to join Wangxia Shichibukai in order to provide the Revolutionary Army with information on the world government and the Great Route. At this time Shang had already joined the Revolutionary Army. There were already 5 people in Chihuahai, and there were still 2 places left, and Doflamingo naturally took a fancy to the privilege of Chihuahai and wanted to join Chihuahai. But when he applied to the Navy to become one of the 7 seas, he was rejected, and Doflamingo's face suddenly darkened. Dover, the Navy rejected us, what should we do now? Should we give up the position of Shichibukai? Torapal said. No, the privilege of Chihuahai is very important to our development and cannot be given up. Of course Doflamingo did not want to give up the position of Chihuahai. With the identity of Chihuahai, the entire Don Quixote family can definitely develop rapidly. Prepare a big gift, send it to Hyuga Chen, and ask him to help. If it doesn't work, I can only use extreme methods. A light flashed on Doflamingo's glasses. Okay, Torapal prepared a generous gift and sent it to Hyuga Chen of the Navy headquarters. However, Torapal felt unreliable, and with this gift, I am afraid that Hyuga Chen could not help them. Navy headquarters. I didn't expect Doflamingo to give me a gift. Hyuga Chen smiled. Is this bribing him? What are you going to do? Do you want to help him become King Shichibukai? Alvia asked. Why don't you ask? Don't you know his character yet, so you certainly won't help. Robin said, flipping his hair. Now Robin has grown up, revealing an inexplicable charm, and Robin and Alvia are almost exactly the same. That is, the color of the hair is different, and those who don't know think they are twin sisters. Is it still Robin who knows me and wants me to help him with this little gold-silver jewelry? Hyuga Chen threw the gift aside. It is indeed precious to others, but to Hyuga Chen, these things are like trash. If you like it, you can pick it up. Hyuga Chen said, women should like these jewelry and the like. However, the girls didn't like it, and in the end they were all played with sugar as a toy. If they were seen by others, they would definitely be called a prodigal. I received a mission to go out. I don't know who is willing to accompany me. Hyuga Chen stood up and said. You took a quest. You are such a lazy person, how can you take a quest? Tautu, Robin, and Charlie looked at him in disbelief. Usually Hyuga Chen is too lazy to move, how could he take the initiative to take the task? Forget it if you don't believe me, I'm going to sea alone. Hyuga-chen left in a white suit and navy coat. The women looked at each other in dismay. Did they really take on the mission? The sun really came out of the west. Girls did not go out to sea with Hyuga-chen. Hyuga-chen was lying on the boat, and the boat moved slowly against the wind and waves. Hyuga-chen's boat was pushed by Hyuga-chen with vector operation, and it was only a matter of thought to change the direction, and there was no need for a helmsman at all. This time it was really Hyuga-chen who took over the task and went to Nine Snake Island to invite Boya Hancock, the queen of Amazon lilies, to join the king's Shichibukai. Hyuga-chen is also a little longing for this woman's country. Wouldn't it be a pity not to visit the Nine Snake Island when he came to Pirate World? If I knew it earlier, I brought someone with me. There's no one chatting on the sea, so boring. Hyuga-chen was lying on the bow of the boat, wanting to see if there were any pirates. He wanted to have some fun. When Hawkeye is bored, doesn't he often chase and kill pirates? Hyuga-chen is also going to give the pirates a big chase at sea. Pity that Hyuga-chen was disappointed, and he didn't see a pirate at all, probably because he was close to the windless zone now. The pirates' boat is not inlaid with sea tower stones. They dare not come to the windless belt to find excitement. Forget it. After entering the windless zone, play with those sea kings. Hyuga-chen leaned on the bow boredly, holding a wine bottle in his hand. The wine in Hyuga-chen's hands is not ordinary. This is a special wine for Tianlong people, and it tastes really good. The ship sailed into the windless zone, and Hyuga-chen deliberately made a big noise on the sea. The windless zone is the lair of the Sea Kings. The most indispensable thing here is the Sea Kings. I don't know why the Sea Kings like to stay in the windless zone. Soon a Sea King with horns and several times the size of the Hyuga-chen warship rushed to the surface. The Sea Kings look very strange, such as this Sea King, with thick armor, 2 horns, 8 legs, and a big donkey head. If you're unlucky, I'm going to eat you today. Hyuga-chen stepped on the cannon on the bow. This Sea King with the head of a donkey roared. Sea Kings have a long lifespan and high intelligence. Of course, this high level is relative to beasts, and their intelligence is not enough compared to humans. Even if the IQ is comparable, they do not have the scheming of human beings. The donkey-headed Sea Kings roughly understood what Hyuga-chen said, and rushed towards Hyuga-chen suddenly. This time, if it really hits the warship, it can definitely easily smash the warship. The Sea King has an extraordinary strength of 5.3. With a smile on Hyuga-chen's face, a sword of light condensed in his hand and slashed towards the Sea King. Pupils dimmed, the body was divided into 2 halves, and the blood stained the sea area of Yuhi. The smell of blood attracts more Sea Kings, and Hyuga-chen releases Conqueror's Haki, which instantly scare away these Sea Kings attracted by the smell of blood. Cut off the most essence of the beheaded Sea King, and the rest will sink to the bottom of the sea, and then be swallowed by the Sea King. Have a barbecue. Hyuga-chen put aside the meat that was bigger than him, then took out the grill, and placed a piece of meat on the grill. While drinking fine wine, leaning on the meat, it would be even better if there was a beautiful company. If I knew earlier, I should have brought Alvia and the others along. Chapter 519 Passionate Hancock. Eating barbecued meat and drinking small wine, the boat approached Nine Snake Island. In the far direction, Hyuga-chen was discovered by the lookout post of Nine Snake Island. Someone actually visited the Nine Snake Island. It seems that it is still the Navy. No, I have to report to the Empress quickly. The sentinel immediately went to report to Hancock. I didn't expect that Nine Snake Island, which is in a windless zone, would be so vigilant. Hyuga-chen chuckled lightly. Nine Snake Island is in a windless zone, and ordinary people cannot enter. This is the natural barrier of Nine Snake Island. With such a geographical advantage, it is rare to be vigilant. It is estimated that Hancock will come soon. The little girl at the time has grown up now. Hyuga-chen sat on the bow, and soon the ship docked. Hyuga-chen was immediately surrounded by a group of women. Is this a man? He looks too good-looking, said a female soldier who had never left the island. Bah, Haven't you seen the reward order? Most of the men above are ugly. This handsome guy should be an accident. I heard that men are ugly. Another female soldier said. Not all the people of Nine Snake Island have been out of Nine Snake Island, so after seeing the man Hyuga-chen, he was very surprised. Don't say it. Nine Snake Island doesn't allow men. Let's arrest him and hand it over to Lady Empress. He is so beautiful, it would be a pity if he died because of this, or let's let him go. Hyuga-chen's face darkened, and he actually described him as beautiful. Is he complimenting me or hating me? Get out of the way, Lady Empress is here. The Daughter Island warriors surrounding Hyuga Tatsu immediately moved away. Boya Hancock, who had just become an empress, originally wanted to see which man who did not know whether to live or die dared to set foot on Nine Snake Island. However, when he saw that it was Hyuga-chen, his eyes suddenly lit up, and his face showed surprise. Although it has been 6 years, Hancock still can't forget Hyuga-chen, the savior, but misses it even more. I didn't expect that the man I thought about day and night would come to Nine Snake Island. Could it be that God heard her prayer? After seeing Hancock, Hyuga-chen's eyes were amazed, and the charm of Hancock made his heart move. In addition to the bonus of sweet fruit, the main thing is that Hancock is beautiful, otherwise, it is absolutely unattractive to give sweet fruit to an ugly person. After all, sweet fruit only adds charm, not like slippery fruit, which can make people beautiful. Chen, I didn't expect you to come to Nine Snake Island. Hancock swooped over, picked up Hyuga-chen's head and buried it on her murder weapon. A soft touch and aroma came. Fortunately, Hyuga-chen did not need oxygen to survive, otherwise he could suffocate happily. She really deserves to be an empress, a woman with a big heart. The female warriors of Nine Snake Island had their jaws dropped. Looking at the empress with a sullen face, she wiped her eyes in disbelief. Is this really the arrogant Lady Empress? Could it be that she was ripped off? You can't go wrong. This charm, Lady Empress is so beautiful. A female warrior next to her was bleeding out from her nose, with an insane expression on her face. Hancock's charm is indeed great, and both men, women and children will be fascinated by her charm. Hyuga-chen's head moved, the corners of his mouth curved into an arc, and then he took a light bite at Hancock. Hancock's body trembled, he let go of Hyuga-chen with both hands, the whole person fell into Hyuga-chen's arms, his eyes were misty, and he looked at Hyuga-chen with blurry eyes. At this moment, the charm that Hancock unwittingly unleashed made Hyuga-chen feel short of breath. Chen came to Nine Snake Island. Did he propose marriage to me? I'm so happy. I want to have a baby with Chen. Hancock's face became more and more yuhi, and he didn't know what to think. Hyuga-chen looked down at Hancock lying in his arms. Hancock was really cute at this time. Hyuga-chen was almost unable to resist Hancock's charm, so let alone the others. At this time, Hyuga-chen could clearly hear their violent heartbeats. Hancock, get up first. Hyuga-chen woke up Hancock, who had fallen into a world of self-delusion. Hancock looked at Hyuga-chen in confusion, and asked softly, is it going to be a bridal chamber? Hyuga-chen was taken aback. Suddenly Hancock came back to his senses and felt a little shy. What was thinking in my mind? I am really shy and yearning. Hancock held his face, shy and unable to extricate himself. After a long time, Hancock raised his head and dragged Hyuga-chen towards her palace. I finally remembered, isn't that Admiral Hyuga-chen? A girl shouted. I didn't expect our Empress to have a relationship with the Admiral of the Navy. It seems that our background is quite tough. But there is a ban on our island. Men are not allowed to go to the island. Is it okay now? Whatever you do, this is something that Lady Empress should consider. While many female warriors were talking, Hyuga-chen had come to her palace with Empress Boya Hancock. Chen, do you know that my concubine has been thinking of you all these years? If it wasn't for Glorious Osa to stop me, I would go to the Navy headquarters to find you. Hancock hugged Hyuga-chen. Glorious is the mother-in-law and the former emperor of Daughters Island. Hyuga-chan looked at Hancock, who had been pestering him, and said in his heart that the Empress was really enthusiastic. Of course, this is why Hyuga-chan has this kind of treatment. If someone else set foot on Nine Snake Island, he would have been thrown into the sea by Hancock Petrochemical. Hancock, come down first. 550 was hugged by Hancock's hands. The whole body was wrapped around his body. Hyuga-chan felt a little uncomfortable. He is a very normal man. If it takes a while, Hyuga-chan may not be able to hold it anymore. Okay. Hancock got off Hyuga-chan and stood beside Hyuga-chan obediently like a little woman. People who knew Hancock's character saw this scene, and they all showed disbelief. This arrogant and willful queen actually has this side. Look at what Houken is the new emperor of Nine Snake Island. You see him as if you saw me, understand? Hancock showed a domineering side to these Nine Snake Island people. My lady Empress, this doesn't seem to conform to the rules, said Granny Za. What's the matter with having an emperor all of a sudden? Not to mention that Nine Snake Island has always been a woman, and suddenly there is a man who becomes an emperor. Rules. Concubine's words are rules, Hancock said proudly. Hancock, even if you are the current emperor of Nine Snake Island, you can't do anything wrong. What do you want the people of Nine Snake Island to think? Humph. Whatever the concubine does will be forgiven, because the concubine is so beautiful. Am I right? The charm released by Hancock instantly fascinated the mother-in-law. That's right, no matter what Hancock does, we will forgive you. Granny Za's eyes flashed with heart. Chapter 520 Spend the spring night with the Empress. Forget it, Hancock, I didn't want to be the emperor of Nine Snake Island. Hyuga-chan shook his head gently. Since Chen said it's okay, then forget it. But when you see Chen in the future, you must be as respectful to me as you are. No, it is more respectful than me. Hancock faced the female warrior on Nine Snake Island commanded. Yes, Lady Empress. No one dared to ignore Hancock's orders, and her prestige on Nine Snake Island was not high. In addition to the charm of the sweet fruit, mainly Hancock's strong strength is convincing. Compared with the original work, Hancock is undoubtedly stronger. Because of Hyuga-chan's change, Hancock was not caught by human traffickers, and he got sweet fruits earlier and was exposed to the training of Nine Snake Island earlier. Hancock's own aptitude potential is not weak, but she has the aptitude of a king. If Hancock originally joined the Chihuahai, the combat power should be counted backwards among the Chihuahai. That is now against Hawkeye, and you can also fight against him. Even if you won't win, you will definitely not lose. She was dragged to her dormitory by Hancock. Hancock grabbed Hyuga-chan's hand and asked, Chen, why do you have time to come to Juche Island? Concubine thought you didn't remember Concubine. Hancock's eyes resembling a resentful little wife, looking at Hyuga-chan's scalp is numb, and the woman's resentful eyes are really lethal. I'm just like a scumbag. We just met once and saved you once. We're not that familiar yet. Hyuga-chan complained speechlessly in his heart. Of course, he definitely won't say these words. He hasn't been so puzzled yet, and only a straight man of steel can say it. Hancock was so cute when he was a child, how could I forget you? Just been busy and didn't have time to see you. Hyuga-chan lied without blinking. He was so busy, he worked as a salted fish at home all day, and he still had the face to say he was busy. But Hancock didn't know. Hyuga-chan said that you were cute when you were a child, so he knocked Hancock down directly, and Hancock fell into a world of delusions again. Hyuga-chan looked at Hancock speechlessly, which is probably Hancock's cuteness. After a long time, Hyuga-chan couldn't help but push Hancock. Hancock, seeing Yuhi all over your face, is there something unhealthy in your brain? No, my concubine didn't have anything unhealthy in her brain. Hancock hurriedly denied. Now let's talk to you about business. Are you going to propose to me? Come on, I'm ready now. Hancock looked at Hyuga-chan expectantly. Several black lines appeared on Hyuga-chan's forehead, and he reached out and tapped Hancock's smooth forehead. Hancock covered his forehead, stuck out his tongue at Hyuga-chan, and sold him cute. Looking at Hancock's delicate and beautiful face and dark blue eyes, Hyuga-chen had unhealthy thoughts in his heart, and he really is a little goblin. Sengoku came up with a king under the Chiwahai. As long as you join the Chiwahai, you can receive the protection of the world government. If you don't do anything excessive, the world government will turn a blind eye. King Sha Chiwahai, does Chen want me to join? If Chen lets me join, I will join. If I don't let me join, I won't join. Hancock kept looking at Hyuga-chen. Of course it's up to you to make up your mind. Hyuga-chen tapped her. Oh, then the concubine will join the Chiwahai under the king. Hancock nodded directly after thinking about it. Hancock didn't think much about the benefits of joining Shichibukai. The most important thing was that after joining Shichibukai, he could go to the Navy headquarters to find Hyuga-chen. So thinking of this, Hancock chose to join Wangxia Chiwahai without hesitation. A concubine joins the king's Chiwahai, shouldn't there be any benefit? Hancock lay on Hyuga-chen. It's really good. You don't have to worry about the Navy in the future. As long as you don't do too much things, the Navy won't target you. Hyuga-chen said. This is not what the concubine said about the benefits. Hancock glanced at Hyuga-chen resentfully, then lowered his head to kiss Hyuga-chen's. Hyuga-chen didn't expect that he was actually raped by a woman from Hancock. How could this be possible? Hyuga-chen immediately started to counterattack. After a long time, Hancock was lying in Hyuga-chen's arms. Without the slightest strength, he panted and said, "You took away the first child of my concubine, you must be responsible." What did you say? You were the one who spoke first. It's good that I didn't make you responsible. It's okay to be a concubine. Hancock nodded immediately. You can stay with me as a princess in the future. Hancock stretched out his finger and raised Hyuga-chen's chin. Crack. With a crisp sound, Hancock lay on Hyuga-chen's arms with a face like Yuhi's, and looked at him with watery dark blue eyes. How dare you play tricks on me? Woo, the Loon family likes you. Hancock raised his head and looked at Hyuga-chen with big watery eyes, like a cute kitten. Hyuga-chen looked at Hancock, who was malicious and cute, and said that he really couldn't stand it. Hancock, you are not afraid that I will eat you. Come and eat your concubine. Hancock said shyly, and gave Hyuga-chen a wink. No way, this is what Hancock brought by yourself, don't blame me. Hyuga-chen picked up Hancock and walked to the peachy big chuang beside him. Hancock hugged Hyuga-chen's neck with both hands, his eyes were tightly closed, and his eyelashes kept fluttering. Are you nervous now? Hyuga-chen asked Hancock under him. Concubine is not nervous at all. However, Hancock's slightly trembling voice had betrayed her, and it was impossible for Hancock not to be nervous at this time. Or any girl who is experiencing this for the first time, will be nervous. You're still stubborn, this time I'll teach you a lesson, you little goblin. Soon Hancock groaned, and then a shy voice spread throughout the room. The female guard in the palace heard the voice from the queen's bedroom. Although she didn't understand what it was, she felt extra shy. My Lady Empress's voice seems to be very painful, is there something wrong? Shall we go in and have a look? Don't, Lady Empress has told me to never enter her dormitory, and I am very excited to hear Lady Empress's voice. What pain is there? I think you heard it wrong. Another guard said. You heard it wrong. Nonsense, I have the best hearing in Nine Snake Island, and I can also observation hockey, how can I hear it wrong? The two female guards guarding the gate almost got into a fight. After a long time, the sound stopped and everything subsided. Hancock lay beside Hyuga-chen, put his arms around him, and then fell asleep. Hyuga-chen kissed Hancock's sleeping face, and then carefully wiped Hancock's sweat. At this time, the two guards who had been quarreling fell to the ground with their legs weak. They didn't know why their legs became weak after hearing the sound from the room.